and 106.3.
Score by Nashville.
A gutty performance. Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun.
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
And welcome into the Tuesday edition of Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode. Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Hope everybody's doing very well on this morning. Whatever that is.
On this fine morning.
On this fine
That's
morning.
Fine. Yeah.
Joe, how are you?
I'm okay. I won Pred's Pick to Click.
Yeah, you did.
I mean, I was kind of joking, but I guess I won.
It worked out. Joe Rexrode going with the no one scoring a goal for the Nashville Predators yesterday in Pred's Pick to Click, and you nailed it. Way to go, buddy.
Thanks.
That's impressive. Like, it's almost worth you getting a couple extra points. We're not
Really?
we're not going to do that, but it's almost worth it.
Oh, I was going to say, I'll accept them. Yeah, you figure maybe the Preds wouldn't have liked. I mean, I assume that the whole team was huddled around the radio listening to Pred's Pick to Click yesterday. And
as they
took
normally
on the
are.
Disrespect and just went ahead and confirmed it.
They did. No question. Michelle, good morning. How are you?
Guys, doing great. Just realized that Christmas is 12 days away, and I have done zero holiday shopping. So just really comes very quickly after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I should probably get on that too.
Well,
typically my day is the 19th. The 19th rolls around, I'm like, tomorrow's the 20th. Probably should get on it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good. Oh, that's
Sometimes
real
I'm a
good.
Christmas Ever. I know it's bad, but
Yeah, I'm with you. But actually, it's funny you guys bring this up because last night I'm on scholarship here because basically Katie buys everybody else's gifts and I have to just get her gift. I mean, that's really
Correct.
what I have to do in life. But I've got it.
Oh, yeah.
I got it yesterday.
There you go.
So, yes.
Good job.
Help from one of her friends. She's not listening right now. She'll never guess anyway. So, it's over. Which has got to be like a record to be 12 days before Christmas and be done. I mean, I don't think that's ever happened before.
Joe's on his A game. He's got that done.
I lucked out.
Guessing Pred's Pick to Click scores or non-scores yesterday. It's good stuff.
I was also sent a text from a friend who said apparently that the Tennessean website showed me as a sports columnist again. So, hey.
Congratulations. Way to go.
Rexrode's
Cool.
everywhere.
Hey, good to know. Sorry, Gentry.
Yeah, see, bud. Well done by Joe Rexrode. Well, I watched that entire game last night, and don't see many 0-0 after regulation games in the NHL anymore, but we did last night, and St. Louis gets the win in overtime on the 3-on-3 period. Predators had plenty of chances to score last night, both 5-on-5 and on the power play as well, which continues to be a major problem for them. But we talked about this yesterday, Joe. The offense is not good for the Nashville Predators. They were 29th in the league in goals per game heading into the game yesterday. And then you throw up the old goose egg last night. And I guess the good news is you got a point out of it when you didn't score a goal, which doesn't happen very often. So you could look at it that way if you're the Predators. But I talked yesterday about this next week and really the next 3 weeks where they're playing nothing but Western Conference opponents and a lot of divisional opponents. And last night, not off to a great start, getting shut out on the road against St. Louis.
Yeah, Central Division battle of the Titans there, so to speak. It's just, they're hard to watch right now.
They are.
I mean, that's really that's my prevailing takeaway is they're just it's hard to watch them. I'm trying to think of the opportunities. I mean, again, the Blues are in the box just constantly. All
With
these
stupid
opportunities.
penalties.
Yeah, and it's just there's just so little going on there with that. Parsonen had that chance late in the second. I thought maybe he held the puck too long, but I mean it was a nice, got himself in position. I mean there weren't many opportunities.
No, Parsonen. Look, I thought Parsonen's line was pretty good last night, and they've moved things around there. And they started with Granlund, Forsberg, and Duchesne back together last night. I mean, they're just right now they're searching for it offensively. And honestly, I don't know that I anticipated offense to really be the problem yesterday when you looked at their D-core and it was announced that, Lozon is out. He's day-to-day. Carrier's week-to-week with an upper body injury, which honestly, when I saw the hit that Lozon took, I thought he'd be out longer than Carrier was. So I guess good news that he's just day to day. But Carrier week to week's not great, and you bring up Kevin Gravel and Roland McEwen last night from Milwaukee, which, look, to their credit, I thought those guys were fine, played well in the role that they asked them to play last night. But right now you're down 4 of your top 7 defensemen that you began the year with Mark Borowiecki, you still with no timetable to return. So you're down 4 defensemen right now with Ryan McDonough being out. And last night, I mean, defensively, you got just about as good as you can ask for of a game. You allow 1 goal, and it takes 3-on-3 overtime for you to get to that point. And quite frankly, like I thought they did a good job defensively the whole game. The best chances they gave up the whole night were when they were on their own power play, which was not good. And they did that probably 4 or 5 times last night, which was interesting to watch. But they got a big problem scoring right now. And until they fix it, they're not going to gain any traction. Like they just, in today's NHL, with scoring being up the way it's been the last 2 years, I tweeted this out last night. It's inexcusable for them to be this bad offensively that they are right now. And the thing about it that's concerning to me, Joe, like if you do a deep dive at it, number one, I don't think, and Adam Vingan and I talked about this a couple weeks ago when he was on, I don't think that they're like not getting what they deserve. Like it's not like they're just peppering the net with all these quality chances and it's just not going in for them. That's happened on occasion. That's going to happen on occasion throughout the course of an NHL season. But for the most part, like they're kind of getting what they deserve offensively, and that's not good. You know, Forsberg point totals are fine. Duchesne's point totals are fine. Yossi's are fine. But I still feel like there's another level that those guys can get to, and they're getting 0 from secondary scoring. 0.
Yeah, and again, for one thing, on the secondary scoring front, I understand, like, I'll go back to Tomasino. I'm not saying that you bring Tomasino and all will be fixed, everything would be fine, but it's like you're I guess it's like you're waiting for him to be like fully baked in the oven, so to speak. It's kind of a weird analogy, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I get it, but like you got to have somebody else who can provide you something, I think. And it's a rotation of, of sort of like fringe role players who do their roles well for the most part, but you got to have more than that, don't you?
Yeah, I think so. And, they've got Edmonton tonight. Edmonton was playing last night too, so at least you got the nobody has a built-in advantage of rest right now, but both teams coming off the second half of back-to-back, and Edmonton got limited to 1 goal last night against Minnesota, and I'm like, all right, I would rather, if I'm a Predators fan, seen Edmonton score about 9 last night. Just get that out of the way with McDavid and Draisaitl coming in. I mean, you're going to have to score in this game. I think the Predators have played well defensively lately for the most part, and they did a fine job last night with the guys that they were missing. I would assume Kevin Lankinen will be in there tonight, and he's played really well so far this year. So we'll see how that goes. But, I mean, realistically, when Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are coming to town, you're probably going to have to score 3 or 4 goals to win this game at least.
So they average – what does Edmonton average? I'll just guess they're 4 something, right, per game?
They are 3.55, which is 6th in the league.
So they'll get about 6 tonight.
Yeah. I mean, this guy's been pretty good.
Yeah.
Been pretty good against everybody, but especially the Predators.
Well, look, if you want to spin it positively, the Preds shut out an opponent with a injury-ravaged D-core. How about that?
Their D was fine.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They played fine defensively last night, and offensively it's just a problem right now. And we wondered if Eeli Tolvanen would make it through waivers yesterday, and he did not. Seattle Kraken claimed Eeli Tolvanen, so the Tolvanen experience here in Nashville is officially over with, Joe Rexrode. And short-lived it was.
And I must say, very disappointing. Obviously, some people were very wrong about him. But some of the reaction I've seen to this is like they just, they just let the greatest forward in Preds history go for nothing.
It's a little bit ridiculous.
It's a little bit overboard. Look, I'm very interested to see, what happens with him. I mean, I think when you have one skill that he does that's very good, you have a chance. And look, we have seen other guys go to. But like someone was asking me, this mailbag I'm doing about, like, the Fiala comparison. And it's like, Fiala did a lot more here and had demonstrated much more as an NHL effective forward than Tolvanen ever has. I mean, and I'm not saying Fiala's the greatest thing ever either, but Fiala had not a 30-goal season here, but he had certainly had.
He'd been very good, and he'd made some plays in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
That run before he got hurt in St. Louis, he was very good. He was huge in the Chicago series.
He was. So, look, it's a classic case of maybe a couple different things being true. I know that anytime something goes wrong right now with a young forward, people are going to jump all over Hines, and it just is what it is. And I'm not saying that Hines doesn't bear any responsibility as to what we've seen from Eeli Tolvanen. Look, part of what they talked about when they hired John Hines was his ability to develop young forwards. And right now, Philip Tomasino's in Milwaukee. Eeli Tolvanen's gone. Like, he deserves criticism.
Cody Glass can't stay in the lineup.
Yeah, there is some criticism that is absolutely valid and warranted John Hines' way when it comes to this. I said this yesterday, I've watched Eeli Tolvanen play for a long time, and it's not just been when John Hines has been here. And quite frankly, just don't see much of it. I mean, even in just regular drills when they're scrimmaging each other, I'm just like, okay. He doesn't really stand out. He's got a great shot when he can use it. Doesn't use it a whole lot. Now, he very well could go off to Seattle, and maybe he turns into some prolific goal scorer. I have no idea. I'll be honest with you, though, if I had to predict it right now, say he'll be probably more like what he's been, which is every now and then you're like, whoo, man, that's a good shot. Most of the time, not much going on out there.
Yeah. It's worth a shot, though. I mean, that's why it's no surprise. I mean, It's no surprise that he didn't clear waivers. Someone in the NHL media space, and I forget who, said that the Preds expected him to clear waivers. And I don't remember who that was, but I saw it yesterday. I was like, really?
I think it was Sean Shapiro.
There you go. It was Sean Shapiro.
Yeah, I have no idea as to whether or not that's true. I would say that if that is true, it's probably not a great guesstimation on their part. I mean, as soon as they put him on waivers, I can only tell you what I thought. Probably a pretty good chance he's going to get picked up.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a no-brainer. Not that it's just, he's on waivers, man. Yeah. Here you go.
Yeah,
like there's plenty of teams out there that'll take. What's his cap at 1.4?
Yeah, like it's not that much. So, really interesting spot for the Predators. They lose last night in overtime, and they're back at it tonight against the Edmonton Oilers. We'll have a lot more on the Predators coming up a little bit later in the program. Coming up next, we'll get into some reasons why maybe Joe Rexrode's a little upset over the course of the last couple of days as it relates to the Tennessee Titans. That's coming up next. But first, let me tell you about my friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. Now's the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. All you have to do is sign up with promo code ROB. The Titans and the Chargers coming up on Sunday. To be honest with you, I like the Chargers in this game. I do like Derrick Henry as an anytime touchdown scorer, and I'll take the under in the game as a whole. But you can take it any way you want to take it. Just make sure you do it on FanDuel Sportsbook, an app that's safe, secure, super easy to use. They've got great live betting options every single day, and when you win, you get your winnings quickly as well. So sign up today with promo code ROB for your no-sweat first bet. Once again, that promo code is ROB. You can make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Blood Assurance, this community's local blood centers, is hiring for several open positions in the Nashville area. Be a part of a company that helps save lives by providing the local hospitals with the much-needed life source of blood. They offer competitive pay, great benefits, paid time off, and retirement benefits. Blood Assurance has a family-friendly environment. Go to bloodassurance.org/careers. Again, that's bloodassurance.org/careers to apply.
Making Moves is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs.
After redshirting his first year at Ohio State, Joe Burrow spent the next 2 years as J.T. Barrett's backup. With Dwayne Haskins on the roster, Burrow didn't see much playing time and decided to transfer. LSU head coach Ed Orgeron zeroed in on Burrow and landed him. In his second season at LSU, Burrow led the Tigers to a 15-0 record, a national championship, and arguably the best season ever by a college quarterback.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
You know that feeling when your football team adds that one player with every skill they've been looking for? It's time your business knew how it felt too. LinkedIn Jobs taps into a network of over 850 million professionals to find the right people for your role. LinkedIn Jobs helps you narrow down to the most qualified candidates so you can start hiring the right people. Go to linkedin.com/sports to post your job for free. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
At the Home Depot, we have plenty of Christmas trees to make your holidays even more magical. Hundreds of full, easy-to-assemble artificial trees that look so real, you may be convinced they actually are. And for those who love that fresh pine smell, we have a parking lot full of fresh-cut trees to call your own. We'll even help you load your tree in the car so you can bring home the holidays. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. We are taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. So, Joe, there's something that has been irking you the last couple of days in the aftermath of the Titans and Jags game. Are we about to get like a mini Rex rant this morning?
Well, I'm a little bit beaten down, and I'm also upset because I completely agree with Jared on this.
Oh boy.
I heard Jared's opening segment yesterday, and again, I don't think Jared, I think basically Jared said the same thing that I said yesterday and wrote in my column, which Gentry also wrote, which then Jared played a segment of Chad Withrow saying the same thing in the post game, showed those guys do. So I guess there's a lot of groupthink going on, but it's so freaking obvious. Like, why are we fighting this? Like, this move did not help this team. I don't understand why. Like, if I have to hear another person say, well, Amy Adams-Strunk didn't fumble the ball out there, then we should never blame anyone but a player for anything ever. I think the biggest frustration I have is, and this is where I have to be more understanding, is I do think that sometimes this stuff gets the people involved in this stuff get very two-dimensional, and they're actually three-dimensional. They're human beings. And to me, it's so obvious, and it's such a no-brainer, but that's also what I have to remember, like, okay, so I've been, like, covering, like, college football teams for a quarter century, right? And other teams, too. It doesn't matter what sport it is. It doesn't matter what level. Every single coach, and I was thinking about this last night as I'm hearing and reading people who are trying to just dismiss this out of hand. This idea that Amy Adams-Strunk's move last week had an adverse effect on her team, and I thought about this. It's like I bet you I've been told like 27 million times by countless coaches that, like, distractions are like the absolute devil, okay, to the coach, okay? And so that's where I you have to, so that context for me, it's been battered into my brain.
Right.
So when something like this comes up, it's like, you just watch and see how they perform. And then it did, and then we saw what happened. Also, I think Jared brought up a really good point. I hope people are taking note of this.
I'm taking note of it.
Yeah. Well, I've said before, I actually agree with a lot more than I disagree with. It's just the disagreements sometimes are like, wait, what did you say?
What did he say?
Well,
that you agree with?
The point he made that I think is a stronger I should have made stronger, but it's a very good point about the Tennessee Titans in particular. They've been that sum of your parts underdog. They don't look good. They're not fun. They're not exciting. They're in a smaller market. Everybody dismisses them, but they have this togetherness. They have this, whatever you want to call it. You want to call it culture? Call it culture. They've got this really strong locker room and top-down consistency, everybody on the same page, a certain physical kind of mindset that it wasn't just Vrabel, isn't just Vrabel. It was Robinson and Vrabel. I mean, just think about these teams that they've had, and even like before this year. But okay, go try to tackle Derrick Henry, and go try to tackle Jonnu Smith, and go try to tackle A.J. Brown, and here comes Jeffrey Simmons on the other side. Like they've had this really good identity, and strong togetherness, and I think that collective, those intangibles, have won them a lot of football games. And so when you all of a sudden just go, you're out of here, you're fired. And it's like, Jim Irsay, crazy owner, well, let's have some of that here in Nashville. I just don't see how. And then I saw some reaction like LD, our friend LD from McMinnville, calling in like, then I don't want to root for this soft team if they're going to be affected by this. How could you not be affected by this? I mean, think about it. Like, first of all we did last week was like, what went on? Well, how did this happen? Why did this happen? What happened on the plane? Oh, Vrabel. Why did Vrabel have Trey Avery cover A.J. Brown? We're just throwing everything against the wall. You think all those players in that locker room weren't sitting there saying the same thing? What the heck? How did this happen? Why? Why is he fired right now? Also, John Robinson believed in me. You know how many guys in that locker room are trying to stay in the NFL? Every single locker in the NFL. There are some stars. There are some very secure people making a lot of money. Most of them are people who want to stay in the NFL and are working their ass off to stay in the NFL. So now, well, this GM believed in me. This GM found me on this practice squad or that practice squad. So what's the next GM going to think of me? What does this mean for my future? All these things are going to go through your head. You know what this is? It's the absolute devil to the coach. It's a distraction. It's a massive distraction. And if you think that doesn't matter, winning on Sunday is about what you did during the week. It's not about, okay, show up Sunday, here we go, pumped up to win the football game. It's what you did to prepare during the week for the football game. So I think I just had – is this my rant? I guess I've probably just had my rant today. I don't know. But I'm just the outright dismissal of this, and I think it's a lot of people who are just happy that John Robinson's fired, which is fine.
Agreed.
You want John Robinson fired? Fine. You know what? He is. So you win.
Yeah, it happened.
But please do not try to tell me that this had no negative effect on the team. That is, to me, not looking clearly at the situation.
Well, I would take it even a step farther than just hey, if you're fighting your butt off to stay in the NFL, your average player in the NFL, that it affects them. I think it affects everybody. Like if you're Kevin Byard or you're Derrick Henry, like it's probably not top of mind, but anytime the administration changes and the people that are in charge of the decision making changes, there is a natural tendency, no matter who you are, what job you've been in, how long you've been in the job, whatever it is, to wonder, okay, what does that mean for me? Like what about the decision making that is changing right now, the equation that's changing? How do I fit into that? And there's a little bit of that goes on. Now, I said this last week, and I still believe it. I feel like professional athletes are very good at compartmentalizing. Quite frankly, there's enough going on in the week, especially in the NFL, where you don't really have a choice. Like, you got to get ready for the game. I agree. Like, there's no way this wasn't a distraction to some level last week. Is that why they lost the football game? I'm not prepared to go there. Like, hold on the ball. Like, that's a big part of why they lost the football game, was they couldn't hold on the ball on Sunday. But I'm totally with you that there's no way that to at least some level this couldn't have been a distraction last week. There's too much going on for it not to be.
Well, there's no way to me because, yeah, of course. I mean, plays happen. If Derrick Henry just doesn't fumble that one one play, then they win. And we're not talking about this stuff, right? But I also just can't. I mean, was that the worst performance under Mike Vrabel? I hadn't really thought of it in those terms. They've had their stinkers here and there.
Maybe considering opponent.
Yeah, I mean, 29 straight points given up at home to the Jags. Jags are getting better. Jags may be the team that's, like the team that's best positioned moving forward. They're the Jags, and they just lost 40-14 to the freaking Lions. And you gave up 29 straight points to them
easy on the
at
Lions.
home. Well, okay.
The roar is being restored, Rexrode.
Easy.
I will not be easy on the Lions, and I will laugh. I will laugh at all of you who think that they're good when they show themselves in their true colors.
Let's go to our 1025 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Jaden. Jaden, thanks for calling in.
Hey, morning, guys. Morning, Michelle. I hope y'all are doing well. I guess I just wanted to weigh in on what y'all were talking about, and that is the firing of the GM last Tuesday. And, Joe, I got to agree with you there. I think the timing was just terrible. Yes, I think they should have waited till the end of the year just because I think the loss this weekend to the Jags was a factor towards it. And I got to agree to Jared's point how if Amy is firing John Robinson now, she obviously doesn't like the look of the team, which also gives the team a bad message, letting them know, oh, our owner might not like the look of our team, might not like what we have going. And it just may have brought a whole bunch of terrible morale towards the entire Titans team. And I'm not a fan of it. I'm not really a fan of the John Robinson firing, at least at the particular time and that it happened. But I will leave it there. Y'all have a good one.
Thanks for the call, Jaden. I mean, to his point, it is an interesting message that was sent from ownership, and we're going to get a little bit more into the ownership situation here in just a few minutes. But I don't know, like the other part of this that stands out to me, Joe, is for the last 3-4 years, for the most part, other than the COVID situation against the Bills, when there were people in the league that apparently wanted to just ban the Titans from football moving forward. They've really been an organization that, for the most part, not many distractions, not much stuff that really makes all that much news. Matter of fact, a lot of what we talked about over the last 3-4 years from callers was, man, nobody talks about the Titans. What's going on? Why does nobody around the nation talk about the Titans? And I think back to the Todd Downing situation after the Green Bay game, and now this situation, obviously two very different things. But it's just a lot of talk over the last 2-3 weeks about the Titans for not good reasons, for negative reasons that I've not typically have been used to seeing over the last 2-3 years.
Yeah, like that stability. I totally get the idea of, okay, consistency. At some point, it's like, okay, you want something better.
Correct.
I get that. Okay, I do. And mistakes have been made, but there's some real value in that too, in that stability and consistency. Top down. And again, top down. Amy Adams Strunk down. Decisions, good decisions that create that atmosphere, which I like better than culture, or work environment, which I like better than culture. And then it changes. Thank you, Jaden. I thought Jaden was I'm ready for a caller to argue, but Jaden completely agreed with me. LD from McMinnville, though, has been attacked while drinking his coffee.
But say he's just sitting there, and then all of a sudden gets called out by Rexrode. 615-737-1025. We'll throw it out there coming up next. Do the Titans have an ownership problem? We'll get into that, plus some very interesting comments from Mike Vrabel yesterday as well. All that ahead. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
The Jaguars are pouring it on in Nashville.
The Titans have lost 3 straight after falling to the Jags 36-22 at Nissan Stadium.
3 turnovers in the first half, 4 overall. Probably not going to win too many ball games doing it that way.
This is a devastating loss in terms of what it means in the next month.
How can they turn things around?
We just got to be cleaner, take advantage of the opportunities we get, believe in each other, and find a way to win.
Talking Titans? Keep it locked to Nashville's best Titans talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and The Game Nashville app.
Welcome to Smashville, home of the biggest hits in hockey and the loudest parties on Broadway. Join us at Bridgestone Arena Tuesday, December 13th for College Night with MTSU and Healthcare Workers Appreciation Night when your Nashville Predators play the Edmonton Oilers. Purchase your special theme tickets at NashvillePredators.com/tickets. That's NashvillePredators.com/tickets. You make the difference in defining home ice advantage. Can't wait to see you back inside Bridgestone Arena. NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Let's go, Preds!
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down and maybe haven't been getting the exercise you need? If you want to get back to the man you used to be but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns to problems with muscle gain, bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction, and if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've treated thousands of men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra. Results vary.
Hi, Sarah. I'm sorry I'm late. The traffic is crazy.
Yeah, it is. And it doesn't help that gas prices have skyrocketed. I can't believe how much it costs for gas now.
Everyone's talking about how much gas is, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app, and I get cash back for every gallon of gas I buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid real cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yeah, real cash every time I buy gas.
What? That sounds like it could really add up.
I've made around $200 already.
Wow, that's serious extra money. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code TANK10 for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back in your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code TANK10 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus in your first tank. That's code TANK10 for 25 cents per gallon cash back in your first fill-up. Cashback's not available in gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
And now a small business setback. Set to smooth jazz.
It's late. You're driving in the rain with only one thing on your mind. The deer about to total your HVAC van. But with Progressive's 30-plus customizable coverage options, you're covered. The rest is just saxophone.
When running your small business gets rough, Progressive Commercial is there to smooth it out. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com.
Twinkly sound.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage and discounts not available for all vehicles or states. Policy terms and conditions apply.
Coming up on the Tuesday edition of Chase, Willie, and D-Mace, we're live at Bridgestone Arena as the Predators will take on the Oilers. Scott Nickel will join us at 11:15, plus Tim Hasselbeck, ESPN NFL analyst, at noon as we continue to react to the Titans losing to the Jags. It all begins at 10, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey, this is Jordan Rogers, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 The Game.
Sound good to me.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Tuesday morning. We'll be joined by Caroline Fenton coming up at 7 o'clock. Looking forward to that conversation with her. Right now, taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Joe, some interesting thoughts already on the text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, including someone who thinks that maybe we're missing the boat a little bit when it comes to blaming Amy Adams-Strunk for the firing of John Robinson.
So is this Nolensville Nick? Is that right?
Looks like it. Your neck of the woods.
My town coming with this take. Now, Nolensville Nick, are you trolling? This is what he said. Vrabel orchestrated the firing. Why does everyone pass it off like it was the owner? Question mark, exclamation point, question mark. The real fans see the Belichick move. Sad. A lot to unpack with that text.
There is.
And my response was, are you trolling?
No response yet.
Yeah, no response yet. So first of all, why does everyone pass it off like it was the owner? The owner owns the team and fired him. I promise you, okay? Now, was Vrabel, was there some cloak and dagger here? Was Vrabel involved? Interesting piece at The Athletic, not written by me, but written by Mike Sando. Maybe we should get him on this week, by the way, to talk about this. Did you see this by Sando?
No.
Sando wrote a piece. You know, he does like a 6-pack every week on different teams, and his lead item was how the Titans could become the Texans, and compared this to to the Bill O'Brien, basically talking about the Vrabel having personnel power, being the GM, whatever may come of this. You know, that's what some people around the league are talking about. And certainly one of the first things people said a week ago today was what? Vrabel. What did Vrabel do? Did Vrabel make this happen? I will tell you this. I do talk to people in the Titans organization.
You do?
And a lot of other people do too. And look, there are conversations between Mike Vrabel and Amy Adams-Strunk that are, I'm sure, between them, that no one else could possibly know exactly what was said. But I didn't come away with this feeling that like this was some Vrabel coup. Okay. Now, if Vrabel did anything to undermine John Robinson, it was complain out loud at times about his roster, which he definitely did do this year. He was like, "I challenge you to find it." And it's like, "Oh, here's 5 quotes from you this year in which you complained about the roster. This is how we're going to have to play if you guys haven't noticed, and who the bleep am we're going to throw to, et cetera, et cetera." I mean, but the idea that that Vrabel is just calling the shots in there and is just running the place and like telling the owner what to do. No, I don't think that's an accurate assessment of the situation in Nolensville, Nick. If you aren't trolling. If you are trolling, good job. You just got us to waste 5 minutes on that.
Well, Nolensville Nick has responded to your "Are you trolling?" question, and his response is, "That's what we talked about during the game. That ill-timed firing has definitely played a mental factor on the team. It's a power move. J-Rob called the guys by their first name more than their last name. That's a family outlook, not a business outlook. Yep." This is from Nolensville Nick on the text line.
I can't totally follow.
Henry, get out there. Oh, that is the greatest thing I think I've heard all week. John Robinson called those guys by their first name instead of the last name. You can't be doing that stuff.
Probably not.
So wait. Is he saying that's a bad thing or a good thing? So I'm reading that as in other words, Robinson had a family feeling there because he called people by the first name.
He's like, it's not a business outlook. Can't be doing that.
Okay, so that's a bad thing.
That's how I'm reading it.
Dude, Nolensville Nick, I need a Nolensville Nick translator today on the text line.
What should the next general manager maybe call people by their last name a little bit more?
Or Mr.? Be like the New York Times, everybody's like Mr. or Ms. or Mrs.
Mr. Byard?
I don't.
Come in here. Oh, God.
I don't know. Anyway, Matt in Bardstown says, "Thank you, Joe. Sorry, I'm just so exhausted cheering for a team, an organization that's the definition of insanity. We need wholesale changes." Oh, sorry. I've just started to read. He's comparing this to the Preds about whether a GM change there would be a kick in the pants with players, and I said I don't think it does. I don't think a GM change does anything good for players. I mean, again, the fact that she said, wouldn't be fair to the team to not fire him in the season, it still just blows my mind. Now, is it necessary for the organization long term? I mean, these moves are made during off seasons.
Sure. Let's go back to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Mark from Nashville. Mark, thanks for calling in.
Yeah, how you doing, fellas?
Good.
Hey, I'm listening to y'all talk. I hadn't heard too much anything being said about the OC for them. Do you think that John Robinson and they said it might have been an argument about certain situations? You think they had an argument about the OC and Vrabel didn't want to get rid of him, and Robinson did, and maybe Vrabel didn't like the idea of him, maybe coming at him about trying to get rid of the OC, because it seems like ever since that Green Bay game, things just haven't went right for the Titans.
Hey, thanks for the call.
I mean, they may have been playing a game of Uno and got into a fight over it. Like, I don't know, maybe even on that plane. I mean, there's so many different scenarios that we could make up. To create I don't know. I don't think John Robinson got fired because he wanted Downing fired and Vrabel didn't.
Yeah,
I think he
so
got.
either.
I think there are some things. there are some. It's okay to take some things at their word. Like Amy Adams-Strunk kind of explained. I would have liked to heard more, but she kind of explained, the situation. I mean, it's kind of it's not like it's this huge mystery that there's several mistakes which we've been talking about for weeks and months about that John Robinson has made, right? I mean, sometimes the simple explanation really is the right explanation. I mean, John Robinson made a lot of mistakes, most notably, in my opinion, trading A.J. Brown.
Yeah, I mean, look, I have no idea what sort of arguments or infighting or disagreements that Mike Vrabel and John Robinson may or may not have. I have no clue. And we've talked about this. I mean, if you think that you're just going to get through any working relationship, much less a working relationship in professional competitive sports at the highest level of football, and you and your general manager are just going to agree on everything, it's not going to go that way. I mean, it doesn't go that way with anyone. Disagreements are a part of how things work in professional sports. Did that have something to do with it eventually? I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. I think we're about a week into this now of grasping at straws, of trying to figure out why the move was made. And I think it's just as simple as it sounds, which is Amy Adams-Strunk wanted to make the move, and she did. I mean, I think that's as simple as it gets.
Based on job performance, which certainly has not been perfect. Again, I mean, I think we've gone through, like, it's going to be tough for them to find, in my opinion, a GM who does better over the same period of time. I'll be surprised if the next GM has the job as long as John Robinson had, and I'll be surprised if the next GM has a record as good as John Robinson had. Okay, but we'll see. And I think it's very simple. But again, the timing part of this is the thing that really is wild. It really is.
Keith on the text line says, "Off to a roaring start today, boys. Do people just wake up drunk?" This is from Keith on the text line.
Sometimes.
Well, we'll see. It has happened in human history before. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll get to some interesting comments from Mike Vrabel yesterday regarding the conversation that we're having about ownership right now. That's coming up next. But first, Joe Rexrode has a word from OrderGreen.com.
I do. Thank you, Robby. A word from OrderGreen.com, the nation's #1 source for all things THC and CBD. Tremendous products that can be very helpful to you mentally and physically. Certainly have been that for me, been that for friends and family, been that for a friend of ours who has a serious illness, and OrderGreen.com has been very helpful to her. We are talking about all things THC, CBD, edibles, gummies, vapes, flowers, you name it, they got it. All things cannabis. You got nationwide same-day delivery right to your doorstep, a team with extensive knowledge for every product they offer, so you know you're getting high-quality product from reputable providers. You get 25% off every shipment of gummies with a subscription to OrderGreen.com, and if you use promo code JOE20, you get 20% off your first purchase.
At some point, it's a combination of who did you play and what does your skill set look like.
Get the best analysis of the big stories in the sports world with ESPN's Jason Fitz.
If you reach for a quarterback in the draft because you need one, you're going to set your franchise back 5 years.
Join Fitzy every Wednesday at 4:30. Presented by Blood Assurance. Jason Fitz.
I am 5'9.5"
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Hutton. Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Replace your old unit fast before new regulations increase prices up to 20%. Get a new unit today at today's price and receive up to $1,500 off, or get 18 months of no payments, so the first payment is not until spring of 2024. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Schedule your appointment now at springhillac.com. That's springhillac.com.
Preds fans, you coming out for tonight's big game? The pre-party action is at Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville, steps away from Bridgestone Arena. Enjoy great specials like $3 off any appetizer in the bar area and $20 bucket specials on Bud, Bud Light, Mick Ultra, and Landshark beer. A sports TV viewing mecca, the Landshark Bar and Grill is a Lower Broadway must-see. That's the Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on the corner of 4th Avenue and Broadway. Stop in before the Preds game tonight.
Should you rent?
Should you buy? This is Chad Withrow, and these are reasonable questions, but there are major advantages of owning a home as opposed to renting, like mortgage interest tax deductions, other tax benefits, plus the equity in the home becomes an asset. You really are throwing away your money when you rent. Let your money work for you. Give my friends a call at Regal Realty Group. Let them find you the right home. They do everything for you from contract to closing and everything in between. Give them a call at 833-OUTKICK. That's 833-OUTKICK.
Chase McCade.
You get a little fired up for that. Pads start popping.
Willie Donick.
And you're just thinking, this guy's unbelievable.
And Derek Mason.
Now I got to run a little bit faster so I don't get hit.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. We may now begin our day. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Talking Titans, taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Interesting press conference from Mike Vrabel yesterday after in the aftermath of the loss to the Titans against the Jacksonville Jags. And he was asked a very good question, I thought, by Steve Lehman from News Channel 5 about the roster and about the message received from ownership in the wake of the firing of John Robinson. Here was what Mike Vrabel had to say yesterday at his press conference.
You guys have been consistent in preaching the next man up mantra, and you've had success with that. But is there a challenge now to keep the positivity you're talking about and the confidence level high when essentially the message here last week from ownership was that the roster isn't good enough to keep doing that this season?
I don't think we have any other choice. It's what we have to do. Is figure out who we have and get them ready to go play a game, take care of the football, try to have some ball production on defense. It's been a long time since we've, created a turnover or hit anybody hard enough to knock the ball loose or intercept it or tip it up in the air and catch it.
So that was Vrabel yesterday after, I thought, a pretty interesting question from Steve Lehman there.
Can you just replay the question and just the very first part of the Vrabel answer again, please, Michelle?
You guys have been consistent in preaching the next man up mantra, and you've had success with that. But is there a challenge now to keep the positivity you're talking about and the confidence level high when essentially the message here last week from ownership was that the roster isn't good enough to keep doing that this season?
I don't think we have any other choice.
So basically, I agree with you, Steve Lehman. That's what ownership said. Now, let me start talking about some football stuff so I don't have to talk about this stuff.
Yes.
I mean, that was a chance to, provide some pushback on the whole idea. But, I mean, again, it's like we can all agree. This is what she said. This is what she said.
I don't think we have another choice. Okay. I mean, he's right.
I mean, as soon as Vrabel answered, I'm like, oh, well, okay. No, don't even push back. Just, we all agree. This is the message. But somehow people out there don't think that has any impact on people.
Well, so what does all this tell you about Amy Adams Strunk? Because I agree with what Corey Curtis said to us yesterday. I think if you look over her entire tenure as controlling owner, I think she's been pretty good. I think she's done a really good job of listening to the fan base from this standpoint. Before she took over as controlling owner, this place was a mess. That franchise was awful. And they showed up in 1999, and they went to the Super Bowl their first year, and they didn't have to work hard to get people in the building because it was NFL football, and they were successful from the jump, and they just went through the motions for 10, 15 years. And then all of a sudden, 2014, 15 comes around, and you absolutely suck, and going to your games is no fun. And that's beyond just the product on the field. And people are looking around like, what's going on here? The ownership group doesn't live here. There's nothing going up, and you have no idea who these people are. And it feels like you're stuck in 1999 when you go to some of these games. And to their credit, I think they've done a really good job of improving a lot of those things ever since Amy Adams Strunk took over. Obviously, the number one thing is the product on the field has increased dramatically, thanks in large part to John Robinson, by the way. I think the in-game experience is better. I think pretty much everything you want to point to about the Titans is better since Amy Adams Strunk took over as owner. But this is just a weird move. And beyond just the firing of it, like I disagree with firing John Robinson. I'm really not even upset that that's what the move was made. Like I understand the rationale of how you could get there if you're Amy Adams Strunk. The timing of it makes no sense to me whatsoever. And it's just a weird move for an owner who I think for the most part has done a lot of things right so far.
Yeah, I mean, like it or not, because I think we've come now, and maybe Jared isn't there yet or somebody isn't there yet, but I think we've, for the most part, come out of the whole what's the real reason, what really happened, right? Like it's her decision. She fired him for performance. Again, lawyers will not let you put out a press release talking about performance if it's actually like some criminal act. Like imagine that. Like imagine putting out a press release that it's about performance when you know it's about something else. Like from the start, they told us the truth.
Yes.
And it's just, again, it's just mind-boggling to me. Ron on the text line. Good morning, guys. Don't understand why everybody's questioning her decision. She's talking about Amy Adams Strunk. Since she took over the Titans, she's been making moves each year, getting better and better. J-Rob just set us back possibly 2 or 3 years, give or take. She brought all those guys in here. She can take them out when they're making moves like that, like they have the past couple of years. Go, Amy, I got your back. So, again, I think a lot of fans are happy with John Robinson being gone, okay, which is
fine.
It's fine. We'll see. I mean, we'll just disagree. I mean, again, I was laughing at hot seat stuff. We both were.
Yeah, we were.
We both were laughing at
the
it.
day he got fired.
Yeah, which is why, for everybody who I'm yelling at now, you can just point to that and say, yeah, well, you were ripping us last week when you said that he wasn't on the hot seat. But like, I just don't understand how you can, as a fan, be like, yeah. I mean, I get, like, there are some people who hate watching now and want him to, like, not make the playoffs. So I guess that's fine. But I don't know how you could see this and not think it's going to have an adverse effect on team performance, which we just saw. And again, it's not like I'm saying, like, guys are like, oh, John Robinson. So like, oh my God, I'm fumbling the ball. I'm thinking of John. No, I mean, it's not all that dramatic. Performance is about time spent, and it's about preparation. It's about focus. It's why coaches talk about distractions. They talk about distractions so much they create a distraction talking about distractions.
Well, the focus thing is what I buy into. Like, how much did it divert the focus? Because, look, I'm sure they spent time watching film last week against Jacksonville. I'm sure that they put in a lot of work to go over the game plan. Look, game plan was working early on in the game. They're doing fine. You just didn't hold on the ball. So the game itself, to me, is just as simple as that. You didn't hold on the ball, and then Trevor Lawrence and Evan Ingram just totally lit you up in that game. But the focus part of it is interesting. Like, how much energy was diverted away from that? The margin for error in professional sports is not very much, and we know this. And, look, I think in, like, college football, I think if you're a team like an Alabama or a Georgia, you'd probably sleepwalk through a week, depending on your opponent, and still come out and be fine on the other side of it. It's hard to do that in the NFL, no matter who you are.
Yes. No, exactly. I mean, sorry, I've got –
oh, boy.
So, first of all, I'm looking at the history of this texter. You better give me your name, who I've asked if you're Jared's burner, because this is the person who said you think part of the reason they're letting Simmons rest is because it makes him cheaper to resign. So now – oh, no, it's Fingus. Fingus from Westmoreland. This has got to be a Jared burner. Fingus? First of all, that's an awesome name. I love your name. If it is your real name, I love your name. This is what Fingus says. What are the odds Amy Adams Strunk decides to give herself the GM title like Jerry Jones? I can see it happening. Why else make this move now? I bet she could at least be better at picking linemen than J-Rob. I'll hang up and listen.
Well.
Then I said, are you trolling? And Fingus said she obviously knows a lot about football, Joe. I mean, in all seriousness, to answer that question, no, that's not what's going to happen here.
Do you know?
Well, I mean, she said she's talking about hiring. I mean,
she did buy land here.
She did. Ready to be here.
What does that mean? Is that going to be like her like lair, like
the
bat
all
cave?
the time now.
Her bat cave.
I'll be in the lair making decisions on the roster.
I mean, to me, of the interview with Teresa Walker, the most, I think.
Who, by the way, we're having on the show later, 8 o'clock.
Yes, the most encouraging part of that to me, for Titans fans, was that she talked about the Even though it made it even more ridiculous, what she did when she did it. But she talked about, like, waiting out people, like, really trying to get a good GM, really being serious about, like getting the best possible GM to come in here. And so I take her at her word at that. No, I don't think she's going to do the Jerry Jones thing.
Now, I will say, I disagree with the move. I disagree with the timing of the move, no question about it. The last time that I felt this passionately about an Amy Adams Strunk decision that I disagreed with was the decision to fire Mike Mularkey and hire Mike Vrabel. I thought it was ridiculous at the time, and it's worked out pretty well for the Titans since then. So
it has. That was when she trusted John Robinson, because that was all him.
It was. And look, I have no idea what it's going to look like from here. I'll say this: I've heard a lot of people say it's kind of both extremes. Like, in Amy, we trust all this other stuff. It's 100% right what she's doing, which is fine if you feel that way. And I've heard people go the other way and say, oh, man, like, this is a big problem, and we have a huge ownership problem. And I'm not willing to go there either. Like, I don't disagree with the move. I don't think this all of a sudden just makes her a completely terrible owner either. Like, I'm willing to see how this plays out and see whether or not decisions like this become a trend with Amy Adams Strunk, which they have not been to this point.
Yeah, look, I think that's fair. You know, Corey Curtis said, you know, she's had like 7 good years and she had a bad week. And I hear what he's saying, but man, that's quite a week.
It is.
Because it's a risk. It's a huge risk. It's the timing is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't care if you're a Titans fan who hates this team and hopes they lose and don't want to watch them anymore and hopes they're not in the playoffs. I mean, I guess I just don't understand that mindset, because, you know, you've made it tougher for this team, and it's the huge risk. And you know what? It comes down to, can you pick a good person, and can you set up a good situation? And that's going to be very interesting with Vrabel too. Like, how much is Vrabel final say? All that stuff. Like, how it all works out. You're going to find someone who can work well with Vrabel. I mean, he and Robinson. Yeah, look, clearly the A.J. Brown trade. You know, I think the Julio trade, I think, you know, Vrabel, that was pretty obvious too. That Vrabel wasn't a huge fan of that. Wasn't a huge fan of Julio. Talk about comments. Remember last year when they lost to the Cardinals? He was like, it doesn't really matter what kind of car you drive. Gee, I wonder who Mike Vrabel's talking about today.
Yeah.
Okay, but he still had, for years, a good relationship with John Robinson. They had a shared vision, and it's a lot of why they're successful now. Can you go find someone else who does the same thing? I don't know. But I agree that, like, right now, I can't sit here and say all of a sudden this is, like, Irsay and Strunk are competing for, you know, wackiest owner of the AFC South.
She's got a long way to
go. You got a long way to go to catch up with him.
615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Caroline Fenton. We'll get her thoughts on all the Titans moves over the last week. Also get her thoughts on some college football and the Heisman Trophy as well. That's coming up next. Preds fans, hang out before the Preds games at the Superbook Lounge and Landshark Bar and Grill, Margaritaville on Broadway with 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Place your bets with Superbook and enjoy great food and drink specials. Plus, enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Preds home game. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You love the game.
Predators win it in overtime. Touchdown, Tennessee.
We live the game.
My quarterback needs me to step up.
He can make a defense pay.
We are
1, 2, 3, 9.
I think it was a good game. Had a couple of big plays.
Roman Yossi scores.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
This holiday season, tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest gifts from Titleist and Bushnell. Elevate your performance with Titleist TSR drivers designed to maximize distance. While you're there, grab a dozen Pro V1 or Pro V1X golf balls. And from Bushnell, save up to $75 on the Tour V5 and Tour V5 Shift rangefinders. We also have gift cards for those favorite golfers on your list. Don't miss these holiday gifts and more happening now at Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Looking for a career with purpose or have that passion for youth development? Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provides a safe place where youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. And that starts with you, offering competitive pay and free after-school care for employees. Learn more at bgcmt.org.
Nothing says I love you like the gift of jewelry. A sapphire ring, a diamond necklace, a colored gemstone earring, an anniversary band. And around here, the diamond destination is Genesis Diamonds. With decades of experience, our legendary value combined with worldwide connection, Genesis is here to help make this Christmas the most unforgettable ever. And to make it easy to splurge, our special 0% finance offer has been extended through Christmas Eve. So you can make any holiday purchase and spread your payments over 5 years and enjoy an interest rate of 0% with absolutely nothing down. Our showcases are filled with exquisite diamond rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands, as well as a fabulous selection of luxury pre-owned Rolexes, starting as low as $35 a month with nothing down. And if you're planning an engagement this holiday season, this special finance offer includes all of our designer engagement rings and all GIA certified diamonds. Buy now, spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest and nothing down. Say I love you louder than ever this holiday with the gift of diamonds from Genesis Diamonds. Green Hills in Cool Springs. Approved credit.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have, credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Patriot Software provides American businesses with easy, cloud-based, premium accounting software and full-service payroll for up to 100 employees. Business owners love the simplicity, the price, and our U.S.-based support. And accountants love the powerful capabilities. Go to patriotsoftware.com. That's patriotsoftware.com.
With patriotsoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Tonight, your Nashville Predators return home to take on the Edmonton Oilers. Coverage begins at 6 on your home for Smashville. WPRT FM Pegram, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive, this is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Tuesday morning. And as we do every Tuesday morning at 7 o'clock, we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our good friend Caroline Fenton. Caroline, good morning. How are we doing?
Good morning. I'm great. How are y'all doing?
We're awesome. Appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning. So Caleb Williams, the winner of the Heisman Trophy. What did you make of the winner and the voting process with the Heisman Trophy?
Well, first of all, the entire Heisman process this year just kind of made me mad. I didn't feel like 2 of the best quarterbacks, 2 of the best players. Honestly, even on 3. I don't think 3 of the best players in America were invited to New York, and that's Bryce Young, Hendon Hooker, and Blake Corum. So, and I know why they didn't get invited. It's because it was injuries, and Bryce Young lost too many games throughout the season. I get it. I know the qualifications that the Heisman voters use. I just don't think it's very fair. So the whole thing I wanted to boycott. But out of the 4 that were invited, I do think that Caleb Williams was the best of the 4. I think that the voting shaked out how I expected it to. So I think that, Caleb Williams has shown a lot this season. I think that all eyes were on the Pac-12 championship, and I think that Caleb Williams, even in a loss, played his butt off. Even in a loss, I think had a Heisman moment. So I think of the 4, Caleb Williams absolutely did deserve it. He's a great player, and add him to the list of Lincoln Riley quarterbacks that were able to heist the Heisman Trophy in New York City.
So I'm asking you this, Caroline, and honestly, I haven't seen anything new. I did see Bill Snyder put out RIP tweet about Mike Leach last night, and then a tweet that said,
"How bad was that?"
Twitter, man, just stay off Twitter. But obviously, Mike Leach in rough shape. Hopefully he can pull out of this. But just your thoughts, just on Mike Leach and what he means to this sport, and what you've seen in terms of the outpouring since we found out that he had this apparently pretty significant heart attack.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the contributions that Mike Leach has made on the field in the football world, developing the air raid offense, kind of bringing college football into the 21st century, and seeing how many games he has won, how many players he has coached that is now excelled in the league. I think that the contributions that Mike Leach has made on the field you can't even quantify them. But then you also look at Mike Leach's lightheartedness and just funny way of looking at things, and the way that Mike Leach, I truly think that he is one of a kind, and I truly think that we will never have another like him. You look at that kind of lightheartedness that he brings to the sport. I explained this story briefly on Twitter, but my sister could care less about football, knows absolutely nothing about football, doesn't care about sports whatsoever. But every time we're together, she'll ask me, any funny new Mike Leach clips? So, she knows nothing about football, but she knows Mike Leach, and she loves Mike Leach. And we just spend so much time laughing at, the gummy bear rant, and then him going on and on and on about Pac-12 mascots and who would win in a fight, and his wedding rant about his daughter getting married. I mean, the list goes on and on and on of things that Mike Leach has done and said, and has just shed light on so many things. Even people who don't care about football, he has impacted in a positive way. So my best to Mike Leach, thoughts and prayers to his family, to his coaches, to his loved ones. Hoping he pulls this one through.
No question about it. Caroline Fenton with us here on Robby and Rexrode. So, Caroline, what do you make of the Tennessee Titans and everything we've seen from this group over the last week? And there's been a lot, from the firing of John Robinson to the performance on the field on Sunday against the Jags. What do you make of this last week for the Titans and what it means for them as they move forward?
I mean, I'll even go back as far as 3 weeks ago when the Titans played at Lambeau, and I felt like that was the peak on the season. That I felt like, this team is legit. And I think that even though the Packers are, truly cheap,
they're bad.
Going on the road on a nationally televised game at Lambeau Field and getting a win like that and having a great game, that it wasn't even just Titans snuck out a win. It was the best offensive game that I've seen Todd Downing call. It was the best game that I've seen Ryan Tannehill have in a long time. And I felt really good about this team. And then, of course, the news comes out that Todd Downing got a DUI. And I felt like ever since that night, it's been nothing but bad press for the Tennessee Titans. And it's not because of what they did on the field. It's because of all of the things that they've created for themselves. Todd Downing inserted himself into the news cycle. And the Titans on Sunday just looked so defeated against the Jags. They came out in the first quarter. I thought they looked good. Derrick Henry almost 100 yards rushing in the first quarter. I thought they played a good game in the first quarter. And then Derrick Henry fumbles. They give up all of those points off of turnovers. They can't get stops defensively. And it just felt like they didn't have any answers for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And what a horrible response to a really difficult week for this team. So I find it really difficult to believe that team wasn't distracted. I find it really difficult to believe that John Robinson's firing didn't at least play a little bit of a part in that performance on Sunday, and it's because of everything that the Titans did to themselves. They created that for themselves, and it didn't even have to happen. John Robinson didn't have to go, at least to my knowledge. They created it themselves, and it was completely unnecessary. So I'm hoping they can at least turn it around this week, because they've got a bunch of really difficult and important games to play the rest of the way.
Yeah, well, I texted Jared yesterday, Caroline, and it hurt. I mean, it really tore at my soul. But,
still hurts.
Yeah, a little bit. But, like his opening rant about all this, I was like, I agree with every word. And I got to ask you, I heard pushback, and I've seen pushback on stuff we've talked about and I've written. But how much pushback did you guys get on the idea that which to me is like a no-brainer, is that when you do something like that, you're going to affect people who are human beings and their performance and their preparation.
Yeah, I mean, is it that crazy of an idea?
Apparently.
The man that was brought in that completely shifted the culture. I don't think that it's a coincidence that John Robinson came in when this team was 3-13, and then John Robinson is hired and they have yet to have a losing season. I don't think that that's a coincidence. I think the man that you brought in to establish the culture, the man that you brought in to bring in all of the players into that locker room, the owner fires him and is basically sending a message to the team that, hey, we don't think that you all are really all that good. I don't think that's crazy of an idea. I think that maybe this team has lost a little bit of morale. Maybe this team has a little bit of something different on their minds. Jared is convinced that the season is over. I'm not going to go that far. I believe that this team is still going to win the division. They're going to make the playoffs, and I think at that point, anything can truly happen. I don't think this team is going to go on a run to make the Super Bowl, but to be completely honest with you, I didn't think that 3 weeks ago either. But it's crazy to think that wasn't at least a factor. And I would say the pushback that we got, or at least the vibe that we got in the text line, was probably 60% agreeing that, that was ridiculous. We are so confused with the direction and the future of this program, which I agree. I'm a little bit confused about where this team goes from there. And then I would say there's about 40% in the text line that was pushing back, like, no, that was the right decision. John Robinson made too many draft mistakes. John Robinson made too many poor free agent signings and trades, and he should have gone, and this team needs to focus. This is their job to go out there and win games. They need to focus on their job, which I get it, but also, these people are human. These are their jobs. These are their livelihoods as well. So I would say it was about a 60-40 pretty split vibe in the text line and from our listeners yesterday.
That makes me feel a little better.
Does it? That's good. That's good. Caroline, it certainly has not been boring around here. We appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning, and we'll talk to you next week.
Awesome. Appreciate y'all.
Caroline Fenton, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode, joins us every Tuesday morning at 7 o'clock here on the program. We'll take your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. We'll get to Joe Rexrode's thought on the awarding of the Heisman Trophy coming up next. I've also got some tickets to give away as well. All that ahead. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
The Sports Talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
Have they truly been tested yet?
I really want this to be a good game.
Michelle and Junie, every Saturday morning at 9. Presented by Superbook Sports and the Nashville Jam Company.
I think Junie and I are going to go hit breakfast/brunch there after the show.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Winning this award is truly like winning the Super Bowl of car dealer awards for Mercedes-Benz.
Edwin Vickery, General Manager of Mercedes-Benz of Music City.
Culture eats strategy for lunch. You have to hit on all cylinders to win this award. You can strategize all you want. You got to still have the right tools, and our tools are our people.
Live the dream with 3-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best Award winner, Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Go to mbofmc.com.
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down and maybe haven't been getting the exercise you need? If you want to get back to the man you used to be but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns to problems with muscle gain, bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction, and if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've treated thousands of men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra results vary.
Hey y'all, it's Courtney with Parman Tractor and Equipment. We're your one-stop tractor and equipment solution and Middle Tennessee's Link Belt and Takahouchi dealer. As 2022 comes to a close, we want to thank our many customers. You can rent or purchase excavators, mini excavators, track loaders, and more through Parman. Gift yourself or business a new or used Link Belt or Takahouchi machine. Visit ParmanTractor.com or come see us at 3570 Dickerson Pike, Nashville, your Middle Tennessee Link Belt and Takahouchi dealer. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from the Parman employee-owned family to yours.
OrderGreen.com. You know them by now. They're my only choice for high-quality THC and CBD products, and they're delivered right to my doorstep. Hey, folks, Joe Rexrode here. Yes, you heard that right. OrderGreen.com will send cannabis products right to you with discreet same-day shipping. OrderGreen.com has been great for me. Just what I need during this busy time of year. Takes the edge off physically, mentally. Terrific products, and if you use promo code Joe20, you're going to get 20% off your first purchase at OrderGreen.com. Do you have a subscription to OrderGreen.com? It'd be a lot cooler if you did. You won't be able to tell if you're in Colorado or Tennessee. Trust me, that's OrderGreen.com.
So I switched to Boost Mobile and got this free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone.
Why do you think they call it the Galaxy?
Maybe because the Samsung Galaxy A23 has a huge screen, and galaxies are huge gravitationally bound systems of stars rotating around a supermassive black hole.
And the phone is free?
When you switch to Boost Mobile.
Cool. You lost me at gravitationally bound.
Switch to Boost and get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. Limited time offer while supplies last. New customers only. Excludes tax. One device offer per line. Only available on certain networks. 5G not available everywhere. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
Well, you've got the whole world listening. What do you got to say? Never miss a moment of the show. Subscribe to the Robby and Rexrode podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. I got some tickets to give away to see the Nashville Predators take on the Montreal Canadiens at Bridgestone Arena on Tuesday, January 3rd. Be caller number 5, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Caller number 5 will win a pair of tickets to see the Preds take on the Canadiens at Bridgestone Arena on Tuesday, January 3rd. By the way, that will be a college night for the University of Tennessee. So looking forward to that as well. 615-737-1025. Speaking of Tennessee, Joe, the Heisman Trophy voting has concluded. Caleb Williams wins the award. Hendon Hooker finishes in 5th place in the Heisman Trophy voting. What did you make of Caleb Williams as the winner, and are we ready to unveil the long-awaited ballot of one Joe Rexrode here on this program?
Yeah, I just tweeted out my picks. Look, I'm sorry. People have just been – it's been really the biggest news story around here the last few days. People wonder what my ballot was. You know,
I'm glad we could finally get to it.
It's really important, you know. And so, yes, finally the big news of the day, my Heisman ballot. But no, I feel like it's important to – in all seriousness, it's important to be transparent. By the way, you mentioned it during the break. Shout out to Wes Rucker.
Yeah.
Friend of the show. You know, I was a little worried about a little bit of homerish stuff going on over in Knoxville. Everybody voting for Hendon Hooker first to win the Heisman, and he voted Hendon Hooker second.
He did.
Who did he vote? Caleb Williams first? Yeah.
Yeah.
So my ballot was...
He got crushed for it, too, by Tennessee fans. Oh, my God.
Who think that he exists to just, like, help their program. Yeah, he doesn't work for Tennessee. He doesn't work for Tennessee, folks. Yeah. All the people who crushed him. Second's pretty good. You know, Hendon Hooker should have been, to me, on a lot of ballots, and he wasn't on enough ballots, obviously. But, like, yeah, you're getting mad at him for not voting him first? Come on.
Clearly, there weren't enough people that had him second either.
Well, exactly. Now, you should be happy with Wes. But I guess, you know, you add up the points, and it would have helped a little more. Now, but my ballot was 3, Caleb Williams, 2, Hendon Hooker, and 1, Bryce Young. So Drew Chester, who thinks that I hate Alabama, there you go.
There you go.
I voted for Bryce Young. I mean, it has nothing to do with loving or hating any team. I think Bryce Young is the best player I saw this year. You know, Hendon Hooker had the Vols carried 4th from the Alabama win because Hendon Hooker made Heisman plays in that game to win that game. And to me, it wasn't just to me. He was absolutely the favorite to win the Heisman after that win. And had they carried that through, and he had played well, things had gone well, he would have won the Heisman, and we know all the things that happened since then. Primarily, and again, I don't think the injury cost. I think the performance against Georgia cost him. Georgia's great, but that's one of those huge games everybody watches, and he didn't play well in that game. But Bryce Young, I still think coming out of the Tennessee-Alabama game, and we talked about it, I think, the next week on the show, like, he was the best player on the field. It was absurd what he did in that game. He put the ball into –
Which, by the way, I'll let you continue. But that made the Nick Saban night before the college football playoff committee selection clamoring that he did all the better because he's like, well, yeah, our quarterback was hurt against Tennessee. And it's like, well, he threw for 500 yards in that game. So, okay, Nick, continue.
Yeah, the quarterback play was clearly affected by injury in that game. Yeah. I mean, Bryce Young puts the ball perfectly into Jahmyr Gibbs' hands, and it's about a 30-yard field goal to win instead of the long field goal to win if he just catches that ball. The defense gave it up, and then he went to the sideline and watched the defense lose the LSU game too. And Brian Kelly called a two-point conversion. Bryce Young, in both of those games, put his team in position to win both those games. And if it were – and by the way, the Texas game, in which they didn't play well and they easily should have – remember the play where somehow he, ducked under a sack and made the play of the game, which was totally a Heisman moment. Bryce Young was the best football player I saw this year, and he got very little. And I think some of it is, fatigue because he won it last year, but that shouldn't make you vote or not vote for someone. You're voting for this year. So anyway, there's my ballot. Yell at me if you wish. I welcome it.
How many first-place votes did he get? I'm trying to find it.
Sure.
I guess my question is, were you the only one?
That's a good question. Am I the biggest Alabama homer in all of college football? I think Ubben put out a pretty good idea, a pretty good guideline, which is best players, but also that had the most impact on a successful season. You know what I mean? But and I think that's a good – and I think Ubben may have had him somewhere on his ballot. I know Braden Gall had Bryce Young on his ballot too, but I don't know that he had him first. But I think that's a good way to put it. It shouldn't just be quarterback of best team. And so, again, all due respect to Stetson Bennett. I love the Stetson Bennett story.
Sure.
He's terrific. He's a really good player. They're amazing. But, no, I would not put Stetson Bennett. I didn't. Ahead of Hooker, ahead of Bryce Young, Caleb Williams, or Max Duggan, frankly. And I think that, in my opinion, is a little bit of voting laziness.
Well, I was interested to see heading into the ceremony on Saturday night. I felt pretty good about Caleb Williams winning it. I did wonder, with them losing the Pac-12 title game, would that impact that at all? I would have been really interested, Joe, to see what would have happened had TCU finished it off and Duggan played the way that he played in that game. Had they won that game in the Big 12 championship game, would that have made a difference? Would he have won the trophy? I think there's a chance he might have.
Yeah, could be. And it's, by the way, after that game, he had the tearful press conference, and then someone tweeted something about, wow, really impressive, and then Caleb Williams tweeted LOL on it.
Yeah.
Okay, Caleb. Let's see. First place votes for Bryce Young. No, there were 16 other people who, along with me, gave him a first place vote. There were Hendon Hooker and Bryce Young both had 17 first place votes. So there you go.
Caleb Williams had 544. And Max Duggan had 188.
Yeah, when I look at that is I don't know that it would have been as much.
It tells me a lot of people turned in the freaking ballot for the Pac-12
championship
game.
It's so pathetic. It's so pathetic. And, 870 voters is too many, and it's just, there's a lot of issues with it. But, I guess to me it's can you at least make it so next year, don't have to, I seriously had to verify. I had to download an app on my phone to verify my identity and stuff, and then it totally didn't work. And finally, it was I called them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, just email in your pics." Okay, thanks.
It is amazing to me, Joe,
Goodbye.
and I don't guess that I'm necessarily surprised by it, but the top 6 vote getters in the Heisman Trophy race this year are all quarterbacks. Top 6 are all quarterbacks, and there's Blake Corum from Michigan, and then Michael Penix Jr. right after that from Washington. So 7 out of the top 8 are all quarterbacks. 8 out of the top 10.
Yeah, and nobody on defense.
Nobody.
Which and that's interesting too, because last year obviously Aiden Hutchinson made it to New York, and Will Anderson should have been in New York. I mean, Will Anderson really should have. Will Anderson probably should have been there instead of him, but he had a huge game against Ohio State. I think Corum had a case this year. He got hurt. Ubben put Bijan Robinson on his ballot. I thought he was a viable candidate until I watched the TCU game, and I just wasn't impressed with him in that game. But TCU did a good job. But, yeah, we need more defensive players. Every year we need more defensive players, and I'm a huge fan of, like, a defensive player having a chance to win this award. I won't – I know 25 years ago that happened, and people in the state were not very happy with it. It should happen. It should happen more often. I mean, like, not a single defensive player in the top 10.
Yeah,
but I didn't contribute to any defensive play. Will Anderson won all the awards this year. He won like the Buckus, Lombardi, won all the possible awards you could win, but he had no Heisman momentum. But that's also the problem. That's the difference between playing for a 10-2 team and did they go 12-0 last year? No,
11-1.
11-1 team, but a team that's in the national championship hunt.
I would just be interested to know, like, what would a defensive play in today's college football, with quarterbacks putting up the numbers that they're putting up, like, what would a defensive player have to do to have a legitimate chance to win? I don't know that there's an answer to that that's realistic.
Well,
like 35 sacks.
Well, so Hutchinson got to New York because he had 3 sacks against Ohio State, right? So that's what it is.
But he never had a legitimate chance to win.
No, he didn't. But I think that, like, if you are absolutely dominant you have to be a dominant team. You have to be in a dominant team, and you have to be dominant, and then you have to completely just wreck the biggest games of the year. I think it's possible, but it would take all those circumstances, and then it would also take it would take a year like this where all the offensive players are going, there's not an obvious winner. So it's perfect conditions, but it's not like completely outrageous.
Coming up next, another move made by the Philadelphia Eagles to snag a former Tennessee Titan. We'll get into that. Also, how are Titans fans going to react if Philadelphia finishes this thing off and wins the Super Bowl? Get into that coming up next as well. But first, Michelle Knezovic has a word from Superbook Sportsbook.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Robbie. And listen, I know everybody around this time of the year is doing their holiday shopping, and Superbook wants to help you because they want to make your parlays pop this holiday season. You can win some money from Vegas with the weekly parlay bonus from Superbook Sports. If you place a 3-team football parlay, Superbook will give you a $10 bonus voucher. It's your holiday bonus, courtesy of Superbook Sports. So, taking a look at the Sunday slate this weekend. Well, first, we'll start with Thursday. We got the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. The 49ers are favored by 3 points. I think that they get it done, I think, solely because they have such a dominant defense. So, give me the 49ers minus the 3. Next game that I think is going to be pretty interesting, or I feel pretty confident about this line, is the Minnesota Vikings and the Indianapolis Colts. The Vikings are favored by 4 points after that loss to the Lions. Listen, I think the Vikings bounce back, so I think they cover that 4 points. Then you've also got the Ravens and the Browns. The Ravens do not have Lamar Jackson. Don't expect him also to play this weekend. The Baltimore Ravens are +3, so I'm going to take them on that. I don't think that Cleveland will have too much of a successful season with Deshaun Watson. Hasn't been playing very well. So give me the Ravens +3. So rack up the wins and earn some holiday cash by betting parlays with Superbook. Download the Superbook Tennessee app and place your parlays today. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Tonight.
And now across and the score. A power play goal for the Predators.
The Predators are back in the Music City with a matchup against the Oilers.
You got to continue to get better and better and be sharp all the way through the end of the game.
Pre-game at 6. Face-off at 7 on your home for Nashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
The countdown to Christmas is on. Take a break at Twin Peaks and bring the crew for a holiday celebration. Need some last-minute gifts? Grab a Twin Peaks gift card in store through December 24th and score a bonus card for yourself valid in January.
Response to Genesis Diamond's remarkable free financing offer has been so incredible that we're extending it through Christmas Eve. Last minute shoppers, we've got you covered with 5 years zero interest financing on any purchase with $0 down. So you can splurge on that handcrafted diamond ring and spread it over 60 whole months. Studs, bracelets, necklaces, bands, every color and every shape, starting at only $35 a month with $0 down. You can use this amazing offer on anything. Designer engagement rings, classics like diamond pendants and bracelets. All our hand-selected GIA certified diamonds are included, and so are our luxury pre-owned Rolexes. At Genesis, we've got our best collection ever, with case after case of stunning gifts that are romantic and timeless. And with Genesis guaranteed best value price and 5 years zero interest, zero down financing offer, you can make this the best Christmas ever and still stay in budget. Merry Christmas from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs, on approved credit.
Hal Gill here for my friends at Dunkin'. Everyone celebrates the holidays in their own special way, but you go twice as hard as everyone else. So does Dunkin', which is why they've created 2 espresso-rich holiday signature lattes. The minty, cocoa-dusted peppermint mocha and creamy cinnamon sugary toasted white chocolate lattes are handcrafted with bold espresso and topped with whipped cream to help you do the most this year. So swing by the newly remodeled Dunkin' on Bradley Parkway in Nashville or the new Dunkin' in Mount Juliet and grab one today on the double.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Greg McElroy, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Tune in later this morning at 8:45 for your chance to participate in Preds Pick to Click and win a pair of tickets to a future Preds home game. Pick to Click brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they're referred to so often. And Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Kanazovic are with you on this Tuesday morning. We have people clamoring for Preds Pick to Click on the text line, asking when it's happening, what's going on, and praising Joe Rexrode for his correct guess last night of no one scoring a goal. It really was impressive that you called that last night.
Yeah, it was, Joe.
Or it's very unimpressive that they got me a point by not scoring a single freaking goal.
Two things could be true.
Yeah. But thanks.
We'll have Preds Pick to Click coming up at 8:45 here on the program. The Philadelphia Eagles, Joe Rexrode, have struck again. Brett Kern, the newest member of the Eagles. He will be punting for Philadelphia, trying to help that team win a Super Bowl, who haven't done a whole lot of punting as of late, but Brett Kern will at least be available to punt and hold for the Eagles as they move forward here. Now that move was announced yesterday, so A.J. Brown, already a former Titan, playing very well, doing big things for the Philadelphia Eagles, and now Brett Kern added to the mix as well. What do you think of that move from Kern? I mean, he's been kind of hanging out, punting, biding his time. I can't imagine that this is the first offer that he's received. My guess is somebody probably has checked in with him already, be that after he was cut for the Titans or maybe at some point this season. But obviously Philadelphia, a very good chance to win this year. What do you make of the move for Kern to go punt in Philly?
Evil genius, that Brett Kern. Just hanging out, getting paid, biding his time. John Robinson sent him some footballs. He send
get those
footballs back to John Robinson? I don't know. But hanging out, and then now look at that. Boom. How about not only do I barely ever need to punt for this team, I have a chance to win a ring with this team.
Yeah.
It's A.J. and Brett reunited. Hopefully Brett's, Hopefully Brett will be okay because AJ sends some tweets out sometimes. It gets people pissed off. Hopefully
so.
he'll be okay reuniting with him. But, our Titans fans, you're rooting for your team, I think. Some aren't. Some are rooting for your team to lose now.
Yeah.
And some like Jared, which, by the way, this is where Jared goes toonces. Like the season's over, forfeit the rest of the season, taking it too far. But if you're rooting for your team, of course. But if and when that ends, are you all rooting for AJ and Brett Kern to get rings with the Eagles? If the Titans can't get a ring?
I kind of think no.
You think no?
My guess is no.
Oh, people definitely don't want them to.
I don't get that. I mean, I guess if A.J. Brown directly...
I totally get the A.J. Brown thing.
Okay. I mean, I understand that
I totally get it.
He's gone too far with taking some shots on social media. I get that. But you know what? Last week, it seems so long ago now. It seems weeks ago.
It really does.
He was hugging everyone. Everyone was fine.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But does Brett Kern make you more likely to root for the
Eagles?
Eagles?
Nice hug to J-Rob. Sorry, bud. About to get you fired here. We'll see you.
By the way, I'm glad you brought that up because he had some tweet about like him as the Terminator or something, but it was like something, I don't know. It was like some game. And Glennon, like quote tweeted, said, interesting choice of words or something like that. I don't think that he was taunting John Robinson being fired.
You never know.
I don't think he was. I really don't think he was. But anyway, does Brett Kern make you more likely to root for the Eagles?
I don't know.
People love Brett Kern, right?
How could you not? By the way, impressive called shot from me. I did pretty well in Pigskin Pick'em this weekend. But one of my mistakes was the Eagles. I was like, they played really well against the Packers. They just destroyed the Titans. Maybe a week off this week. Maybe it doesn't go so well. They hung up 48 points against the Giants on Sunday, 148-22. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
Also, definitely went 0-6 on Pigskin, I'm pretty sure, this weekend. So that's great.
I'll have to check, but I think there's a possibility.
I think I did.
Wow. I don't know how I did. I'm just cheeks. So.
You got your lock. Shout out to Army.
Oh, yeah. There we go, Army. That was a great game, by the way. Did you guys watch that? It's a really good game. A lot of emotion in that game.
I mean, the Eagles are really I'll be honest with you. Like, I've watched them a lot this year, and up until about 3 weeks ago, I didn't know that I was a true believer in Philadelphia. I was like, all right, well, they hadn't played anybody all that great yet. I still don't know that I totally trust Jalen Hurts. I love the lines of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Last 3 weeks, I'm like, man, they're pretty good. Like, Jalen Hurts is pretty good. Their defense is good enough. They got some playmakers offensively. Miles Sanders, this guy nobody ever talks about, and he's just scoring touchdowns left and right. He put up 144 yards on Sunday. Like,
very good player.
They're really good from top to bottom. They are very, very good.
Yeah, I mean,
even with that goofball head coach they got, but they're very, very good.
Even he has become less goofy, and apparently lets them have a lot of fun too.
Apparently so.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I've seen him play Minnesota. I don't think Minnesota can get him. Can the Niners get him? I mean, the Niners.
They can play defense.
They do have a legit D, and they've got really everything you need. And it's great seeing Brock Purdy do this, but I don't know. And then maybe the Cowboys, like on their absolute best day.
I think they could get him.
Maybe the Cowboys could go in there and get him. But I think they're pretty strong favorite to at least be in that Super Bowl.
Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome our friend Adam in Portland. Adam, good morning. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, Robbie. Hey, the Niners will get them. That's my called shot, man. They're just, that defense is so dang good. Historically, if you look at it, like there's teams that pop up like that they're what I want the Titans to be. That's if the Titans were perfect, as everybody stays healthy and does what they're actually supposed to do, I feel like we could be the 49ers because our defense is really good. Our offense is what it is, but we have opportunities to do stuff, so that's my pick. Well, I was calling you is you're asking if Kern makes the Eagles more likable. He makes them so much more likable to me. I don't know what it is, Joe. It's not fair. You're like, I don't know why people would want these guys to look. I don't know what it is either about me, but it's just how it's my makeup. Like, no, I don't want AJ I want him starting Sunday to never get above 30 yards receiving ever again, and he has a burned-out career, and they write a book about it, and they even put my quote in there. Like, I want it to be terrible for him because I feel like he went away, and it was a lot to do with AJ, too. Like, it was obviously bobbled on our end, but it was a lot to do with AJ. So, Brett Kern, you just had a punter beat you, dude. Ain't nobody beating AJ over here. God, would I love to still have AJ here. So, no, I don't want AJ to do any better, but I kind of want Kern to get a ring. So,
thanks for the call, Adam. I mean, Cole on the text line says, I'd be happy if Kern could win a ring with the Eagles, but somehow AJ doesn't get one with a crying, laughing emoji face.
Yeah. Well, maybe
hard to be mad at the punter.
Maybe he won't get one. I mean, he only has 65 catches for 1,020 yards and 10 touchdowns with 4 games left to play. So has he really earned it?
Leave
I
him
don't
off.
know.
Maddie says, I would love to see Brett get a ring. As for AJ, I'd rather see David Questenberry get a ring. Shout out David Questenberry.
Okay.
It's going about how I thought. I think
Bills-Eagles.
I don't think many Titans fans are all that excited about A.J. Brown potentially winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Just my guess.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's fine. That's fair. I thought maybe seeing him again and everybody, greeting each other in a friendly manner might help.
It did not.
What if he doesn't? If he doesn't take
he did
anyone?
right after that? He went out and absolutely killed him. Just torched the Titans.
And then spanked the goalpost.
Spanked the goalpost. It did not help.
It's like the ex-girlfriend who's doing really, really well, and then you're just not doing well. Just be happy for him. Just be happy.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Or her. Right. Be happy for the ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
A.K.A. AJ.
It's not easy to do, but it is the right thing.
The
to
right
do,
thing.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Be the better person.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't either.
I think some fans will.
It was a little toxic.
If you are like that,
towards the end,
it was. But if you're a fan rooting for AJ, let us know.
Man, they're really good.
Looking for someone.
They're 12-1. So they officially clinched the playoff spot on Sunday. So they're the first team to clinch the playoff spot. I mean, they're going to have home field. They're going to be the number 1 seed in the NFC. And like you said, that doesn't mean that you're going to the Super Bowl, but just with the way they're playing right now, I don't know how you stop that offense. Like, if Jalen Hurts is going to play this way, they have, in my opinion, the best offensive line in football. They can run the ball. And if Jalen Hurts is throwing the ball as well as he's thrown it so far this year with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, like, I don't really know what you do to stop it. You can slow it down maybe, but I don't know how you stop it. And I didn't even bring up if you stop all that, Jalen Hurts can just turn around and run the ball on you too.
Yeah. I mean, look, if you're one of those defenses, and the Niners and Cowboys both can play very good defense.
They can.
You put him in a position where he's in a bunch of third and obvious passing in a playoff game with that pressure. It's just like we asked about Ryan Tannehill. Are you going to step up in that situation? And obviously he didn't last year. I mean, that's the hope of beating the Eagles. That hurts in the absolute crunch when it's like sometimes it just comes down to throwing out of the pocket and making those tight window throws that he's not up to it. But I agree with you. They can do so many different things, and he's playing great. They look very tough to beat right now. Eagles, Chiefs, that would be a fun Super Bowl.
It would be. Bills, Eagles, that'd be fun.
The Bills.
Bengals, Eagles, that'd be fun.
Did you see the press conference where someone was just like, you guys don't have a good offense good enough to win a Super Bowl? Josh Allen's like, okay.
Somebody said that?
Yeah. Like
the
it
Bills?
wasn't a question. Yeah. You guys didn't see this?
No.
Yeah, I saw the clip, and I didn't know what the question was, but I saw the clip of Josh Allen. He's like, okay.
Like, okay.
To the Bills? Okay.
I mean, their offense has been muddling along here.
I think they're going to be okay.
I think they're going to be okay, too. But now I want to go back and watch that press conference because it's like, did you ask a question?
By the way, how many times did the Eagles punt on Sunday? Once? I think twice. They punted twice.
Okay.
So Kern out there a couple times a game. See what he still got.
Light work for Brett Kern. Now he is going to Philly in December. So
it could get a little hairy out there.
There is that, and that's a little bit different than what he's used to here. But other than that, I'd say great move, man.
Yeah. 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. We'll have Teresa Walker from the Associated Press coming up at 8 o'clock. We'll get her thoughts on the Titans and her interview with Amy Adams Strunk. Looking forward to that. Up next, it's time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. You can check it out every morning at 7:45. We'll do that next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Your home for the MTSU Blue Raiders is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Every touchdown.
Yes! Touchdown!
Every three.
Free ball! Yes, sir!
It all lives here.
Middle Tennessee!
You can also hear the Blue Raiders in the Borough on 97.5, Middle Tennessee Athletics on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
Give the gift of luxury this holiday season. Nothing is more elegant than a trip to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Gift cards from Bob's Steakhouse or Mocara Day Spa make wonderful gifts for any occasion, especially during the holidays. The foodie in your life will enjoy an evening of fine dining from the award-winning Bob's Steakhouse. Bob's Steakhouse specializes in serving big, flavorful steaks next to Texas-sized portions of delicious sides. The special person in your life will be comforted with the gift of relaxation and rejuvenation when they receive a gift card to Mocara Day Spa. Let the spoiling begin with a soothing facial, hot stone massage, body treatment, salon service, or mani-pedi. Bob's Steakhouse and Mocara Day Spa in the luxurious Omni Nashville Hotel. Purchase your gift cards today.
When joint pains cause you to sit out on everyday activities, it's time to make an appointment with Dr. Matthew Beal at Houston Clinic Orthopedics. Dr. Beal can diagnose your problem and treat the joint pain for both surgical and non-surgical matters. Board certified and fellowship trained, Dr. Beal specializes in hip, knee, joint replacement, and adult joint reconstruction. Visit tn.houston.com to learn more about Dr. Beal and to book an appointment online. Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So, what do you provide? Cookie-cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie-cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Informative.
They played a lot of power play time together back in the day.
Insightful.
It's a great addition to this team.
And just three guys being dudes.
On the sideline in shorts and a t-shirt.
Hanging out, watching the game.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2.
No such thing as bad press.
On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. We may now begin our day. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Don't make me angry.
Sometimes you have to tell someone to pound sand.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
This is the Rob Rant. Now on Robby and Rexrode.
And it is that time of the day, time for the Rob Rant. A little late audible. Rob Rant time here on Robby and Rexrode. As always, we'll take your thoughts on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025.
I love this song.
It's so bad. Good gracious. It's not as bad as a Beatles song, but it's bad.
Man, if the Beatles could, somehow way back when play
record
this song.
One shining moment.
Yeah,
be great.
Amazing. On the sitar.
Yes. All right. So we're going to get a little bit deeper into a Predators discussion coming up next hour. But there's something that's kind of driving me nuts on the Twitterverse that I feel like I need to address. And let me just say that if you're a Predators fan that is upset with the waiving of Eeli Tolvanen, who has now ended up on the Seattle Kraken, that's fine. I have no problem with you being upset by that. I have no problem with you being upset that the Predators lost an asset like that for nothing. I think there's valid criticism there. Look, even if you think that Eeli Tolvanen hasn't been used properly here and he's going to go off to Seattle and he's going to play really well and he's going to be, a good player for them for a long time, that's fine. You can feel that way. One thing that kind of has been bothering me and a narrative that I just don't agree with is that he's been given zero chance to succeed here. And I've gotten a lot of that in my Twitter mentions the last couple of days ever since it was announced that he was put on waivers. And it's like, well, he never got a chance. It's like, well, yeah, he did. Like, Eeli Tolvanen got 4 years worth of chances. He's been around here for a long time. And he spent more than half of last year in the top 6 with Ryan Johansson, who, by the way, Ryan Johansson played really well last year, and Eeli Tolvanen still wasn't productive. He has spent some time in the top 6 earlier this year. Was it enough time? You can think whatever you want to think on that front. But, this idea that the Predators just never gave Eeli Tolvanen a shot, I don't agree with. I've watched this kid play for a long time. Joe, you remember the hype that Eeli Tolvanen had coming in. And it wasn't just you in your article from the Winter Olympics. It was all of us. I watched the kid play some games in the KHL. I watched the kid in the Olympics. He was really, really good, and his shot was electric, and I thought there was a chance that once he got here and got a good amount of development in, and they worked with him on the North American game, that he could turn into a player that was putting up 30 goals a year for the Predators. I thought that there was a chance that could happen. And quite frankly, really ever since he's gotten here, I just haven't seen it. He's got a really good shot, and we've talked about that from the moment he got here. He's got a good shot. When he's on, he can put that thing in an area the size of the coffee cup, and he's got good accuracy, and it's got some good zip to it. But really, I haven't seen enough on a consistent basis from him that makes me think that he's ever going to be a 25, 30 goal scorer in this league. I think a lot of parts of his game have gotten better. I think that he's much better defensively than he was when he first got over here. He's much more equipped to handle the physical part of the NHL game. He's not getting pushed around. All that's great. He still, to me, does not get open enough to use that shot to where he can be dangerous. And maybe that changes when he gets to Seattle. I don't know. But the bottom line is, I do not buy into this idea that Eeli Tolvanen just never was given a chance here. He was given a chance, and he didn't take advantage of it. That is the way I view it. Now, does John Hines play some role into that? Yeah. I put some of this on John Hines. I put some of it on David Poile. And the bottom line is this is a first-round pick that just whiffed for you. Did not get anywhere near what you thought you were going to get out of Eeli Tolvanen. So some of the blame goes on Poile there too. And who knows? He could get to Seattle, and all of a sudden he turns into some 35-goal scorer, and I look like an idiot right now. Would not be the first time that's happened. But I reject the idea that he was just never given any opportunity whatsoever. He was, and he didn't take advantage of it. That's me.
I mean, I don't know how anybody could claim to watch this team at all and argue with you. He's had plenty of opportunity. And, yes, I absolutely was right up there. That the hype bus, I mean, I was, surfing on top of it. And everybody was waiting. And there was this, like you said, what was it, 15 games?
There was about a 15-game stretch in 2020 where he got hot on the power play.
2021, right?
Yeah. Where he got hot on the power play, and that was it.
Which I heard Jared refer to yesterday as a stretch of saving everybody's jobs that season, apparently. Yeah. He was so good. But, of course, we're talking about the same person who said the floor is Forsberg. So yes. There are some people out there who have had really inflated views of what Tolvanen is. It's a disappointment. And, yeah, look, would I be shocked if he had some level of production, with Seattle and got a burst of energy from the change of scenery and all that stuff? No. But he's not going to be a 35-goal scorer for anybody in this league.
I would just be shocked at this point. Part of the game today is being able to create on your own, and I just don't see that much from him. Like Forsberg, part of what makes Forsberg really good is he can create for himself, right? I mean, he can get himself open. He can force himself to the middle of the ice. And I just don't see Tolvanen do that a lot. So, again, I'm not saying that he's a bad player, and I'm here for the argument, like some of the guys that have been in the lineup over him, I'm here for the argument of, well, why has that been the case?
Sure.
I'm not saying that the Predators have handled this well. I'm just saying, like, this idea, some people are acting like the Predators just lost out on Mario Lemieux, and I don't understand it. Like, he's a good player. He's a good young player. And you should be mad that they lost him for nothing. I don't think there's any question about that. Losing a first-round pick that's still that age under that contract and not getting anything back for him is bad. There's no other way to put it. But, like, I think we're getting a little overboard with the evaluation of who Eeli Tolvanen is and has been as a player.
Is Poyle on with Chase William Dimas today?
I believe so. Well, I think today may be Scott Nickel.
Because, I mean, look, I have to assume, but I don't see why. I mean, I don't see why Poyle wouldn't confirm it, but I have to assume they tried to trade him. And if they
maybe, I mean, they had a lot of things going on. Like you had your two defensemen get hurt, and then you had Michael McCarron go in the player assistance program, and you had to make some roster moves. Now, my response to that would be, if the only reason you did this is because you had to make some roster moves, well, why did you not make a move with somebody else who probably wouldn't get claimed? Would be my question.
So you think that this is purely just reaction to all the stuff going on? Don't you think that they put him on waivers before they found out about McCarron?
I think there's a chance. I don't know that. I think there's a chance that could be the case.
So this just comes down to them thinking he'd clear.
Maybe. Could have. I would question that decision making.
Well, that's another good question. We're gonna a list of questions for Chase William Dimas, but it's not. It's going to be Nickel and not Poyle.
I think so. I'll have to double check on that.
Okay.
Chip from Mount Juliet on the text line says the hurt lies in Poyle not getting assets for him when he was hot years ago. He's gotten his chances here. Matt on the text line says that I don't know how to evaluate talent. Well, you're right. I'm not a GM.
So Matt is a talent evaluator. Tell us more, Matt.
By the way, I'm not really questioning his talent. Like, I've seen him shoot the puck. He can shoot the puck really well, but eventually you got to score.
Yeah, he's not explosive. He's not especially explosive.
He's not
powerful, fast. He has a terrific shot. Although last year that exact shot, I mean, look at the numbers. Look at the underlying numbers. Watch him. For whatever reason, it was not as effective. Was not as lethal last year.
It was not.
And by the way, as far as like Poyle getting something for him before, you could say that, but at the time the Preds were hoping he'd be a good forward for them. That's why they drafted him. They need good young players in this organization to be good moving forward, and most of them are not panning out right now.
When are any of the people covering – this is from a texter. When are any of the people covering the Preds going to stop talking about personnel and lineups and start talking about the head coach and the GM that's wasting top talent as it ages into obscurity? Blame Himes and blame Poyle.
Wow, that's no one's mentioned Poyle or Hines in any sort of critical way.
Yes.
Eureka!
We figured it out.
Jeez.
I mean,
no way. Are you serious?
I mean, we've kind of exhausted the Hines Poyle discussion, haven't we? Look,
and John Robinson got fired. Wow.
I know. Yeah.
What a city. What a city.
It is. It's pretty amazing. 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Teresa Walker from the Associated Press. We'll get her thoughts on the Titans and her interview with Amy Adams-Strunk that took place last Friday as well. That's next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-106.3, The Game.
You love the game.
Tennessee touchdown! Middle Tennessee gets the score.
We live the game.
Just work on the little things every day.
They think the coaches are just coaches.
We are.
Cranks it, he scores!
On both sides of the ball. One big possession.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen. Christmas shopping is in full swing at Electronic Express. Come into our convenient locations for great deals on all of your favorite brands like Samsung, Microsoft, LG, Sony, Apple, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. 4K TVs, computers, appliances, smart home, headphones, gaming, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 48 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make Christmas happen.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here. Now's the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. All you have to do is sign up with promo code ROB, and I'm typically going with Justin Jefferson over on receiving yards and Devontae Adams as an anytime touchdown scorer, but you can take it any way you want to take it. Just make sure you're doing it on FanDuel, all in an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. They've got great live betting options every single day, and when you win, you'll get your winnings paid quickly to you as well. So sign up today with promo code ROB for your no-sweat first bet. Once again, that promo code is ROB. You can make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Please make sure you call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
This holiday season, tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest gifts from TaylorMade and Bushnell. Featuring the TaylorMade Stealth Carbon Woods with 60 layers of carbon for faster ball speeds. And while you're there, grab a dozen TP5 golf balls. And from Bushnell, save up to $75 on the Tour V5 and Tour V5 shift rangefinders. There's also gift cards for those favorite golfers on your list. Don't miss these holiday gifts and more happening now at Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
This message is for the guy who isn't perfect in the bedroom. And let's be honest, who is? Maybe the issue is getting it up, or keeping it up, or maybe it's finishing too soon. If any of these performance hiccups sound familiar to you, don't sweat it. Hims can help. At 4hims.com, you can go online and get clinically proven prescription medication that treats these issues, prescribed for you, if appropriate, by licensed medical providers. And the medication is shipped free to your door in discreet packaging. Plus, Hims gives you unlimited follow-up visits with medical providers. No one's perfect in the bedroom every time, but with Hims, you can get a lot closer than before. And chances are, your partner will agree.
To get started today, go to 4hims.com/perfect. That's 4hims.com/perfect for your free visit. FORHIMS.com/PERFECT.
Live from the Game Nashville studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A gunny performance.
Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
These are battles. These are grinds. We don't panic. We don't freak out. That's how we're built.
1, 2, 3, 9. This is your drive to the playoffs update. Presented by Coleman Tractor, Tennessee's largest Kubota dealer. On 102.5 and 106.3. The Game and the Game Nashville app.
After a huge divisional loss in Nissan Stadium on Sunday to the Jacksonville Jaguars, the AFC South gets a little bit closer. On Monday, the Titans announced they would be waiving Ola Adeni and Joe Schobert, and Mike Vrabel spoke to the media and said that as a leader of this team, he needs to make sure he keeps motivating them even at their lowest points of the season.
You know, sometimes the things I say, Paul, somehow in a twisted, warped way may make me feel better. I don't know if that makes, the situation better. So I've tried to balance that. I really believe, that I have. I think what you see is what you get. I think that I'm always going to try to be honest with them. I'm always going to try to point out the things. But I do believe that my tone as the head coach of this football team is important. I think it's, again, trying to come in here today after a loss, after 3 losses where we're at, it's still important to make sure that we're all held accountable, that we're doing things that are positive, but also the outlook has to be positive as well.
The Titans are off today, but will be back in action tomorrow. This report is presented by Coleman Tractor. I'm Michelle Knezovic for 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Hour number 3, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Tuesday morning. And we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And welcome in our good friend Teresa Walker from the Associated Press. Teresa, good morning. How we doing?
Doing pretty good considering that it's a Tuesday. And unfortunately, a lot of days this week, I've got to be up early. And I do not know how you guys do this every single day. It's so early.
It is very early. We're still not used to it. That's
I don't know how we do it either.
Yeah.
For Michelle and I, it's just being around Robby that gives Michelle and me energy.
Just lots of real good positivity every morning over here. So, Teresa, we got a lot to get to with you. Let's just start with the team itself right now. They've lost 3 in a row. They just got hammered by the Jags on Sunday. They're still in first place in the AFC South. They're still probably going to make the playoffs. But overall, just what do you make of this team? What do you make of the way that they played as of late and what it means for them as they move out or try to close out the regular season here?
Well, they're missing a lot of people. I mean, and the reason they got hammered by the Jags, 3 turnovers in the first half that was turned into 17 points. And then they come out in the third quarter. It was a few weeks ago, there was some national announcer wondering why Mike Vrabel deferred to the third quarter. You remember that? And I wish I could remember the game. Like, why don't you just take the ball? You got Derrick Henry. And it's like, this is why. We saw it exactly on Sunday. You score before the halftime. You got the ball coming out in the third. You can put a game away. And they held the ball for the first half of the third quarter, driving down the field against a defense that, well, while they had gone 8 games holding opponents to 20 points or less, is a shadow of itself. I mean, Danico Autry missed his 3rd game. Christian Fulton was out. They put, both of their starting inside backers are on IR after the move David Long on Saturday to that list. I mean, it's like they take 1 step forward, 2 steps back with injuries this year. And guys, they, like last year, they've used 80 different players. That is most in the NFL at this point. So, the best hope that they've got is 4 games left. There's only 1 team. Well, now there's 2 because of the Chargers beating Miami Dolphins. And let's put it this way. I'm curious to see how the Chargers react because they celebrated Sunday night like they'd won the Super Bowl. From some of the reports I've read. And right now they're going to be facing, I think, a salty Tennessee Titans team that might be close to getting Nico Autry back. Now, I think we are going to see just how much he's meant to this defensive front. He's their sack leader. And, without him in there, people are able to, double team Jeffrey Simmons, who's not been at his fullest strength because of the ankle. Bud Dupree seems to be starting to work through some of his injury issues that have affected him all season. And if they can get a couple guys back, and we saw them fix some of the issues, oh my God, they could not block to save their life for Derrick Henry in Philadelphia. We saw them fix that. He had 96 yards in that first quarter. If they don't turn the ball over, then and then just finish some of those drives in the first half, then guys, that could have, should have been a much different game. They were their own worst enemy. And then when you look at the missing pieces on defense, it's no wonder. I mean, they couldn't stop Evan Ingram, to save their life because, I think that Kevin Byard ended up with like 3 passes defensed. That's not what you want to do on a tight end. Yes, he can cover tight ends, but, with all the new faces, there's a lot of communication going on, and it could have, should have been worse because of those mistakes.
So, Teresa, you had the one-on-one interview with Amy Adams-Strunk Friday. Give us a little inside baseball on that. I know that, we were all in communication last week, and I know as the president of the PFWA, Pro Football Writers Association, chapter here, you put out a request. I know a lot of us also, requested Amy to talk, to have a press conference. she decided to have a one-on-one with you. First of all, tell us how that came about. And the interview, we've all seen the quotes and the videos that came from it. What was just your prevailing takeaway from that session with her?
Well, and I did make the request on behalf of all of us because, to face us so that we could all, because trust me, everybody has their own questions about this, right? And as president, I made the request Tuesday, for her to explain that decision. She chose the one-on-one, and no, I am not going to say no to that. So, and my first question was, was this all your decision, and why now? And she's like, totally my decision. And again, last year, 91 different players used. This year, 80 different players used. She says that she had made the decision before the game at Philadelphia. So for everybody wanting to draw the straight line, A to B, they went up there, got embarrassed. AJ had a great game against a team that could have, should have, never let him go. She was mad and she made the decision. No, she had been looking at all the roster moves that this team has made. And, what's one thing we've talked so much about this season since the injury to Taylor Lewan? Dennis Daly being a traffic cone, sometimes not even that, on the blocking game. And, we saw it again on Sunday. He gets help with Chigakwanko trying to chip on somebody, and Chig pushes the guy far enough away that Dennis Daly is not athletic enough to get over there and slow him down, and he goes right by him, and I think that was the strip sack on Ryan Tannehill. So she could see the problems with this roster. I mean, guys, last year all the eggs were put in the basket of fixing the wide receiver group by going and trading for Julio Jones, who pretty much gave them nothing. You had to redo Ryan Tannehill's contract to free up money to do that deal with Julio Jones. This is a team that is tight against the cap. Had to let Roger Saffold go. The big move to help replace him on the offensive line, Jamarco Jones, and it's like barely ever saw him except for one time early in the off-season program or training camp where he was tussling a little bit with Taylor Lewan. Offensive line on offensive line action. It's like, in some of the moves that John Robinson, he made some incredible moves. No one disputes that. And she said, thanked him for, in the statement she gave to us last Tuesday and again in my interview for what he did because she knows where this team was. She took over for her brother-in-law, Tommy Smith, in March of 2015. This team was a dumpster fire, okay? People want to question her ownership and some of her decision-making. Well, she wasn't the one who was so afraid of Detroit taking away Ken Wisenhunt that she committed to a 5-year, $25 million deal, okay? That was her brother-in-law, Tommy Smith. But when she saw him start 1-6 and have a record of 3-20, she decided to pull the plug during the season, and that firing decision came on a Tuesday, similar to the firing of John Robinson. So, and yes, I saw the mention. Peter King worked this into his column yesterday and kind of made the, it came out and said it. I guess she missed the winning streak last year against all the good teams, and yes, that included a great run against the Bills, the Chiefs, the Rams. I mean, it was a 5-game winning streak, against the murderer's row of their schedule, and they handled it incredibly well. But, we've seen Mike Vrabel and his coaching staff have to make an awful lot of chicken salad over these last 2 seasons, and the fact that they're atop the division with what they've had to deal with, Traylon Burks on IR. I mean, it's kind of interesting, but I know that there are people wanting to paint her as, does she know what she's doing? The impression I got sitting in her office with her, she knows exactly what she's doing. She's been looking and evaluating and paying close attention to every move that's been made, and finally got to the point where she decided that this was not the GM that she needed anymore. And when I asked why now, she said, we're friends. I can't sit around and pretend that I'm, when I've already made my decision that I can't keep him anymore. And that was why she went ahead and made the move during the season.
Yeah, and I get that. I 100% don't get how she thinks it's good for the team. I mean, because you don't have to do it. That's why no one does it during the season. But that is done, and I thought I said this earlier in the show, Teresa, but the one thing she said about the GM to come, which for one thing makes it also weird that she would do it in season because they might wait till the Super Bowl. But I thought that comment was interesting and I think encouraging for Titans fans who are worried about like Vrabel GM or Vrabel, so much power that they can't lure a good GM, which I think is still, if I'm a GM candidate coming in here, that's my first question. Okay, who has the last say? Is it Mike? Is it me? But she does sound like someone who actively wants a really good GM. It's not like she's totally changing the structure. She wants a really good GM to come in here and take Robinson's place. I guess, would you agree with that takeaway? That was that something that you found interesting that, that she looks at this like a real GM hire to come?
Absolutely, and I did ask that question, and unfortunately, we had to, I could have written 3,000 words off of the interview. Let's be honest, and I asked, I said, how much more do you want Mike Vrabel involved with personnel decisions? And she says, I see being an NFL head coach as a 20-hour-a-day job, and I see GM as the same thing. She wants a collaborative relationship, which she said John and Mike absolutely had, that they worked together. And Mike Vrabel told us that, he always appreciated the input that he and his coaching staff were able to have in evaluation. So, but it sounds like she wants a GM who is the guy who's in charge, but in the end, it's her team. And let's not forget the fact that, with the Rams picking up Laurel Murchison, there are 2 players left from the 2020 draft on this team. And, it's 2022, and you've got 2 players left. For all the free, Vic Beasley, Jadeveon Clowney, Isaiah Wilson, Darrington Evans, the guy that could never stay healthy to even get a look at him. There were many mistakes for as good as John Robinson was, going 69-47 overall. Their couple wins from clinching a 3rd straight division title have not been done since this franchise was founded in the old AFL by Amy Armstrong's dad. If they have a winning season, it'll be the 7th straight. That matches the longest stretch that happened during the run and shoot days in Houston as the Oilers. But, she was looking at some of the decisions. And let's not forget, this is a franchise that is busy trying to finalize the last pieces of financing for a new stadium to open in 26. And, part of this feels like a massive business decision that she needs to make sure that this team is navigated well over these next couple of years so that there is a competitive team that takes the field when that new stadium opens.
Teresa Walker, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. Teresa, great stuff as always. Thanks for taking time to be with us. We know it's been a busy time for you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Thank you guys so much.
Absolutely. Teresa Walker, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll take your thoughts, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025 on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We'll react to what Teresa had to say there coming up next, and we'll also get to some tragic news in the world of college football as well coming up next. But first, Michelle Knezovic has a word from Superbook Sportsbook.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Robby. And listen, know that everybody's been holiday shopping out there, and you might want to get a little extra money, and Superbook is going to help you do that. And you can make your parlays pop this holiday season. That's how you're going to win a little extra money. So win some money from Vegas with the weekly parlay bonus from Superbook Sports. So all you have to do is just place a 3-team football parlay, and Superbook will give you a $10 bonus voucher. It's your holiday bonus, courtesy of Superbook Sports. So taking a look at this NFL slate for the rest of the week and heading into Sunday, we got the San Francisco 49ers are favored by 3 over the Seahawks. I'm going to take the Niners minus the 3. Also another game that I'm loving that's coming up on Sunday. We've got the Indianapolis Colts and the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings need a little revenge game after losing to the Lions, and the Colts just have been very bad this year. So give me the Vikings minus the 4. And then also to round it out, we've got a good one. The Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are favored by a touchdown, but I think this is going to be a very close game. So give me Miami plus the 7. So you can bet on those, and then you get a $10 bonus. It's your holiday bonus, courtesy of Superbook Sports. So rack up the wins, earn some holiday cash by betting parlays with Superbook. Download the Superbook Tennessee app and place your parlays today. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Want the latest on college football and Nashville sports?
He looks like 1,000 quarterbacks I've seen in a college game.
Join Outkick 360's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and Company.
The coaching staff kept him and got rid of the other guy.
He'll bring opinions and charisma for a full half hour every week.
If he's so great in the locker room, then give him a coaching gig.
Chad Withrow is presented by Two Rivers Ford. Custom order your new Ford from Two Rivers Ford on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, TJ Anderson here. With real estate listings, you have to read between the lines, like trendy, so are man buns, or great potential, just like your ex. Must see inside, yeah, because it's a dump outside. My team at TJ Anderson Homes at Benchmark Realty is ready to help both home buyers and sellers decode the market. Oh, and if it says open floor plan, the doors are sold separately. Google TJ Anderson Homes, read our reviews, and see why we are referred for a reason. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, 615-432-2919.
Hiller is giving away cash for the holidays, and we are celebrating from now until the end of the year with special deals. Hiller wants to make sure every child experiences the joy of Christmas this year, so they're donating $50 in toys to Toys for Tots with every tankless water heater purchase, and giving away a $250 Visa gift card with each unit. Get a $500 Visa gift card when you buy select new HVAC systems, or a $500 Visa gift card with the purchase of any new whole home generator. More details at happyhiller.com. As always, happy you'll be, or the service is free, and these deals are only available until the end of the year. So that's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
When it comes to procuring my adult beverages for the big games, I saddle up and head to Red Spirits and Wine. Red's Titanic selection of beer, wine, distilled spirits, and cigars is second to none. And Red's Cracker Jack crew always delivers a winning combination of service and value. There's no two ways about it. Red is top of the range. Open 7 days a week at Highway 70 South in Bellevue. And check us out at redspirits.com.
Now's the time to get a great deal on select Kubota compact tractors, rated #1 in durability and owner experience. They're designed for easy operation and feature performance-matched attachments. Right now, put 0 down and get 0% APR for up to 48 months, plus save up to $1,100. Now through December 31st. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit Coleman Tractor Company, your local Kubota dealer in Clarksville, Nashville, Paris, and White House today.
It's on. It's happening. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way. I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Thanks to Teresa Walker for joining us in the last segment. We'll react a little bit to what she had to say coming up here in just a few minutes. But, Joe, do want to get to some very unfortunate and tragic news in the world of college football. Mike Leach, who, as we know, we've discussed, has been dealing with a health situation over the course of the last couple of days, has been in the hospital. Mississippi State has announced that Mike Leach has passed away at the age of 61, and that was put out about 15, 20 minutes ago by Mississippi State football on Twitter. So the Mississippi State has announced the passing of Mike Leach, which took place apparently last night. So Mike Leach has passed away. And obviously, Joe, that is very tragic news. We all enjoyed Mike Leach. I never got to talk to Mike Leach, but you did and have dealt with him on a few different occasions. And I just know, as Caroline talked about earlier on the show, somebody that, you know, I didn't know in college football, but always loved watching Mike Leach coach teams, loved watching his press conferences and how entertaining and fun he was. And this is just a tragic day for college football with the passing of Mike Leach.
Just awful. Just absolutely awful. And rest in peace, and thoughts and prayers to all of his, you know, his family and his friends. Like, so many people are just, you know, are close to him and love the guy so much, and he is absolutely. I'm trying to put him into context of like what he is to college football. One, incredibly influential with his offense. I mean, the air raid. You're going back to. In particular, I think when people first started to learn about Mike Leach was Kentucky, late 90s, with Tim Couch as the quarterback. You know, Tim Couch, I think, was the #1 overall pick, right? out of that air raid offense, and then he goes on to Oklahoma, and 1 year with Josh Heupel, and then just this head coaching career. I've always wanted to know with Mike Leach, what would he do at a place where you have the best talent? He won big at Texas Tech. He won at Washington State, and his last game will be that Egg Bowl win over Ole Miss, and he was doing good. I mean, he's 158 wins as a coach, 158 and 107. I always wondered what would happen if Mike Leach did what he did at a place where you get the best talent, and I thought we were going to find out a few years ago when John Curry tried to hire him, and then John Curry got fired, and we know all that happened at Tennessee. But the personality, he's like, I mean, it's like he was kind of like the Yogi Berra, just like this colorful character. Who else would you, in other sports, would you compare to? There's no one like him in college football. No one like him in college football. I mean, he just, obviously, I'm sure you'll see today, if you're on any sort of internet thing, you're going to see press conferences replayed talking about wedding planning and gummy bears and just
mascots fighting each other.
Oh, it's just hilarious. And, it's 61 freaking years old. It's just awful.
Yep, just awful news. 61 years old, passing away from complications with a heart condition. And like I said, I mean, we all saw the news a couple of days ago, and we're hoping that he could pull through. But Mississippi State announcing that he passed away last night at University of Mississippi Medical Center in Jackson, Mississippi, following complications from a heart condition at the age of 61 years old. And, it's interesting. You bring up Josh Heupel. I mean, he was influential in his career too, and just the way that, Tennessee's offense and kind of the evolution of that. I mean, everybody today is going to talk about like the press conference part of it, but just the person that I've seen people on Twitter the last couple of days talking about how, they were a young student journalist at the time and they've gone on to have big careers, and they think back to early in their career when they were young student journalists and Mike Leach would call them and talk to him for 35 minutes on the phone about something at midnight that they needed to have. Like just his willingness to, give time to people is something that I know that he's done that for you as well.
Yeah, I mean, this year actually, I think it was about 1:30-ish in the morning, and it was a long, long conversation about Josh Heupel, but then about his offense and I mean, he's the guy, and that's there's so many great stories like that about him being willing to give his time and just, and that's the thing. It's like wanting to help people understand what you do. I mean, it's you don't see it that much anymore, especially I think in the sport of football in particular. Like actually actively seeing the value in explaining things and talking to people and giving them your time. So, I mean, he was just it's just a massive loss. It's just I can't adequately put it into words. I look forward to I mean, frankly, I'm going to spend today reading a lot of stuff, and I know there's going to be some new stuff out there about Mike Leach and what he meant to the sport, but it really is hard to quantify.
Yep, no question about it. Rest in peace to Mike Leach, passing away at the age of 61. Our thoughts and prayers with Mike Leach's family as they go through this loss. 615-737-1025. We'll take your thoughts on Mike Leach, your best memories of him during his time in his head coaching career. We'll also get back into the Titans coming up next, react a little bit to what Teresa Walker had to say last segment. All that coming up. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Hey, this is Roman Yossi, and this is Nashville.
Going to the front of the net, he scores. What a gorgeous move. Roman Yossi.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals. In addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses, we will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
I love it. OMG. I had no idea.
Oil Fire Whiskey is finally here. Oil Fire, a dangerously seductive spirit. You will like it. She will love it. Think you can handle it? Oil Fire, 70 proof whiskey. It's amazing.
The Parker Store at 1909 Nolensville Road in Nashville is the Parker Factory Authorized Store for your Parker hydraulic, pneumatic, water, and chemical hose needs. They stock metric tubing and hose connections to 42 millimeters in size, and they'll fabricate while you wait up to 6,000 PSI hydraulic hoses in a 2-inch size. Call the Parker Store at 615-248-8245 for all the Parker requirements you have. The Parker Store, 1909 Nolensville Road. Signs First, Nashville's trusted vehicle wrap and graphics one-stop shop. From one-off custom applications to entire company fleets, Signs First delivers superior quality both locally and nationally since 1991. Be creative. Get noticed. Signs First. Go to sfnash.com.
O'Reilly. Protect your vehicle's engine with Syntec at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Syntec Premium Full Synthetic Motor Oil is formulated for today's engines to dissipate heat and reduce friction and wear. Right now, get 5 quarts of Syntec Full Synthetic and a MicroGuard Select Oil Filter for just $33.99. Try Syntec today, exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage? If your check engine light is on, it may be affecting your MPGs, but the free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help. With the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes, you'll know what's affecting your gas mileage and more, and you don't have to drive too far to find the fix. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service is available at all 6,200 stores.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
See details at AutoZone.com.
The Sports Talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
Have they truly been tested yet?
I really want this to be a good game. Michelle and Junie, every Saturday morning at 9. Presented by Superbook Sports and the Nashville Jam Company.
I think Junie and I are going to go hit breakfast/brunch there after the show.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Mookie Betts. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. If you're still looking for Christmas gifts, check out Nashville's best deals and get half-off gift cards to Joyland, Old School Pizza, Seafood Sensations, River Queen Voyages, and more. Visit theGameNashville.com/deals now while supplies last. Welcome back in. Taking your thoughts on the Titans, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Thanks to Teresa Walker for joining us to begin the 8 o'clock hour. Had some interesting comments on her interview with Amy Adams Strunk, how it came to be, and what exactly her takeaways were from that interview. And, Joe, it's interesting, like the Amy Adams Strunk part of this, and Teresa pointed this out. One thing that Amy Adams Strunk, I think, made pretty clear was she said her decision was made, and the timing of it was in large part because she doesn't want to sit on that decision, as Teresa brought up. You know, I would assume she's pretty close with John Robinson, and it felt like, I guess in her mind, that she couldn't sit on that knowing that her mind was made up on that point. Like, I hear what everybody's saying, and I can't maybe her decision was made and all that stuff, I still find it very difficult to believe, Joe, that this decision was made, and not only just made but executed 2 days after A.J. Brown lit them up. Like, it's really difficult for me to believe that just played no factor in this whatsoever.
Same here. Yeah, I mean, people say a lot of things, but I think that again, regardless of whether that's true or not, like, I'm sure it happens often in sports that there's, a decision and then you sit on it, right?
Sure.
I mean, the decisions are – because I've heard a lot of people, too, do the whole – like, in my business, if you know, then you fire. I'm like, yeah, but it is hard. It's very hard to do any kind of comparison to, like, normal life in sports world.
Yes. It's very different.
It's just – like, the day-to-day operations of your labor force are not watched by millions, watched by full stadiums of people. It's just a different deal. So that's why this never, ever, ever, ever happens. So look, I mean, I just think it was a ridiculous decision in season. But there was some very interesting stuff there. And, again, I think the point about a strong GM is important. And also, that was an interesting nugget Teresa gave us that wasn't in the written aspect of the story or the video she put out there. Was the 20-hour-a-week comment from Amy Adams-Strunk about Mike Vrabel. That, to me, is an encouraging viewpoint. I agree. Like, that's how you should look at it. Like, first of all, I never really thought the Belichick idea was real. Like, I never really bought that it was just going to be that. Mike, it's your whole show. But
why would you want to do that? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And again, now we tried to ask him 17 different ways, and he just didn't really want to answer last week. But it's still really interesting, the question of the next GM, how much of a question will it be? If I'm coming in as a GM, do I ultimately have power over Vrabel if we disagree on a player?
It's a great question. And, I don't know what the answer to that would be, but that'd be something I'd want to know if I'm the general manager. And I do think it's encouraging, as you said, that it does sound like there's going to be an actual general manager search and that the general manager role could be relatively the same. Now, I still find it hard to believe that Vrabel's not going to have at least a little bit more say as they move forward here in the roster decisions. And look, maybe he should. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. From the beginning, what I rejected and what I was hoping wouldn't happen was the idea of basically it's going to be Mike Vrabel as general manager, like de facto general manager, and him having to do both. And I don't think that, generally speaking, is a good idea. I don't know that I necessarily have a problem with him having more say in the roster as they move forward here, and we'll see how that goes. I mean, we pointed out the examples from Pete Carroll to Sean Payton and how those have gone in terms of roster decisions, and I don't know how much power Vrabel's going to or is not going to have. But it was encouraging to at least make it sound like there's going to be an actual general manager search when this thing is all said and done.
Hey, look, if Vrabel, if what you should do is like maybe give Vrabel like three whammies a year where
maybe,
you can play your card 3 times. And if he had that this last year, he would have stopped the A.J. Brown trade. The Titans would be better. They actually might be able to do something this year.
Yeah.
He gets a veto.
Yeah, exactly. Like 3 veto cards. No, that's going to be a really, and again, I'll point out the Sandoz story. We'll get into that too at some point. And again, he often talks to execs around the league, but a lot of them are looking at this like, this looks like Bill O'Brien. And Bill O'Brien, basically was coach GM. Didn't go well.
He did not.
Now, I'm sure Vrabel would be like, well, I wouldn't trade DeAndre Hopkins for, a bag of balls. But hey, that's just me. But it's just why I think you have to have 2 really good people in those 2 positions. And you need 2. You need checks and balances. I really believe that. Brandon from Spring Hill. on the text line driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. It sounds to me like the owner selfishly didn't want to have to deal with the internal turmoil related to knowing what she wants to do, how hard it might be later to fire him. She prioritized her feelings over the team, not someone I would want to work or play for. Yeah, look, I have thought that I understand the idea of, like, how can I look the guy in the face if I know I'm going to fire him? But I think you go ahead and do that. I think you go ahead and do that and let the season play out, because you're not, especially if you are going to do what she should do, which is see it through. And if there's a director of player personnel on a Super Bowl team, see it through. If that's how you're looking at that, then you go ahead and you let the season play out.
Well, and also, like, added to that, the decision being made before the Eagles game, which is what she said. I mean, let's think back to that time. They were 7-4. They had just lost to Cincinnati
in a very good game.
And, the injuries were the injuries, but they'd done a whole lot of winning right before that. I mean, they were 7-4. They played really well against the Chiefs in a game where they didn't have their starting quarterback in the game. I mean, honest with you, I find it pretty difficult to believe that decision was made before the Eagles game when they were 7-4 and they just lost to the Bengals by 4 points.
Oh, and by the way, he had just gotten a 5-year extension.
Yeah.
A few months earlier. So, hey, again, there's plenty of criticism of John Robinson. And if you're a Titans fan right now, just like, that's what I want. You know what? Accountability. I'm not taking this crap. Get out of there, J-Rob. Fine. I will call the shot. If I haven't already, I will call the shot. The next general manager of the Titans won't have the job for as long as John Robinson had and will not have as good a record as John Robinson had. There's my called shot. When I'm the producer of Stilly and Pauly in 7 years, I will bring it back up.
And John Robinson is the GM of the Indianapolis Colts.
Or John Robinson's on the show.
Whoa.
Stilly, Pauly, and J-Rob.
J-Rob and Joe.
One day, I think was it last summer? It was one of the camps. I think John Robinson may have been making fun of Jared a little bit.
Yeah.
Or he was saying something there. And he actually made it kind of like, well, someday I'll get fired and I'll be on the radio too. So, Now, he was joking, but maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe it'll happen.
Or was he?
Or was he? We're breaking news here today on Robby and Rexrode.
Maybe we are. Only program in town has information like that. I don't know. I mean, this kind of goes back to the ownership discussion that we had earlier in the show of, there's been a lot of, I guess, polarizing discussion around this since John Robinson was fired. It's hard to believe it's only been a week. I'll be honest with you. It feels like it's been about 2 months talking about this.
Man.
It feels like it's been forever.
Let's talk more about it, though.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like I'm kind of in the middle. Like I feel like there are some Titans fans that are like, whatever Amy Adams Strunk wants to do, that's what we'll do. That's the right move, and we're behind Amy Adams Strunk. And if you feel that way, that's fine. I also feel like there are some Titans fans that are like, oh my gosh, we've got Jim Irsay leading the team, or Jerry Jones right now.
That's where Jerry
with the Titans, and I just don't. I'm not going there either. Like, I don't agree with this move. That doesn't necessarily mean it's the wrong one. I don't agree with it, but I also don't think that this just all of a sudden makes her a terrible owner either. I think the jury's still out on that.
Yeah, to me, it's an eyebrow raiser to the point where you're like, uh-oh, what does this mean? Look, Bud Adams was known as someone who made spontaneous moves, and sometimes to the detriment of his franchise. I think that's fair to say.
That is fair.
Again, it doesn't mean just because Amy Adams Strunk is his daughter that's exactly the same thing. But this is the first time that I've really thought, whoa, what is going on here? I mean, look, the story came out earlier this year, the whole malarkey thing with basically ignoring the Rooney Rule and his firing, and that was criticism that Amy deserves. It was also, again, unfortunately, it's the reality, I think, of a lot of franchises. But I think there are a lot of things that she's done, including like investing in the facility on that stuff, investing in the team, being a face out there, being a face with the fans, all really good things. But one thing that I really thought was also a strong, positive was the fact that she hired people she thought were good and she let them do their jobs and was not the meddling owner. And again, it's defensible to fire John Robinson after this season. I would still not agree with it then, but this does bring up the question: like, is it actually is it going to be different? Is it going to be more involvement? Because I don't think that's how you want to do it. And if you're a fan, you want to trust in ownership. That's why the Lions have all these different people all over the years, and it always comes back to ownership. It always does.
Lions
and they'll be this will play out exactly how it always does. And I'm sorry, but it's not a coincidence when it's the same family for decades and decades. It's you don't want bad ownership. And I'm with you. I don't think this means all of a sudden Titans ownership is a disaster, but it does bring questions and some concerns.
Coming up next, it's time for Pred's Pick to Click here on Robby and Rexrode. Pred's back in action tonight at home, taking on the Edmonton Oilers. Be the first caller at 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. If you guess a goal scorer for the Predators tonight, you'll win a pair of tickets to a future Preds home game. We'll get to that coming up next. Speaking of the Predators, give the gift of Preds hockey this holiday season with the Smashville Stocking Stuffer presented by 47 Brand and Local IQ. This includes 2 hockey tickets, a Preds 47 Brand hat, and a $20 food voucher, all starting at just $79. Visit NashvillePredators.com/stocking for more info, or check out the 5-game pick plan presented by Hattie B's. Pick any 5 games and select your seats, plus receive a Preds car flag and a $10 gift card to Hattie B's. Visit NashvillePredators.com/tickets for details. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Bowl season is here.
Keeps his feet out of a tackle, and it's a race now.
Catch all the action right here at 102.5, 106.3, The Game, and 94.9 The Fan.
Down the middle, right on the money, touchdown.
All the big moments of bowl season are presented by Boombuzz Craft Pizza and Tap House. Pizza, beer, sports. Headquartered in East Nashville.
My goodness, look out.
Bowl season is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and The Game Nashville app.
Nothing says I love you like the gift of jewelry. A sapphire ring, a diamond necklace, a colored gemstone earring, an anniversary band. And around here, the diamond destination is Genesis Diamonds. With decades of experience, our legendary value combined with worldwide connection, Genesis is here to help make this Christmas the most unforgettable ever. And to make it easy to splurge, our special 0% finance offer has been extended through Christmas Eve. So you can make any holiday purchase and spread your payments over 5 years and enjoy an interest rate of 0% with absolutely nothing down. Our showcases are filled with exquisite diamond rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands, as well as a fabulous selection of luxury pre-owned Rolexes, starting as low as $35 a month with nothing down. And if you're planning an engagement this holiday season, this special finance offer includes all of our designer engagement rings and all GIA certified diamonds. Buy now, spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest and nothing down. Say I love you louder than ever this holiday with the gift of diamonds from Genesis Diamonds. Green Hills in Cool Springs. Approved credit.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe, and every season is screwball season in my house. No matter the time of year, that rich, smooth taste just hits the spot. Y'all know Screwball. It's made with real whiskey, peanuts, and peanut butter, and it's just flat out delicious. It's my favorite. However you take it, as a shot, in an espresso martini, or a peanut butter old-fashioned, make it a Screwball peanut butter whiskey. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2022 Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Lions, Tigers, and tailgates. Oh my. The college football season is always a great time of year. Besides the jerseys, the face paint, and the foam fingers, there's the food. And nothing gets you more fired up for game day than Eckrich smoked sausage. They're naturally hardwood smoked and have the perfect blend of spices. From buffalo sausage dip to sausage chili mac and cheese, Eckrich smoked sausage is a quick way to bring flavor to all your tailgate meals. Visit Eckrich.com for easy, one-of-a-kind sausage recipes. Eckrich, you do you.
Jared Stillman.
This is a team that the entire city is losing their minds over.
Caroline Fenton.
It's one of the youngest teams in the league. They don't have a single player over the age of 30.
Stillman and Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. We may now begin our day. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app. It's time for Pred's Picks to click.
And a shot at the score.
Do you think you know who will score a goal in tonight's Predators game?
It'll give and go.
Shoot your shot for a chance to win Preds tickets. Call 615-737-1025 now. Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are preferred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. It's Pick to Click, now on Robby and Rexrode.
And it is that time of the day, time for Preds Pick to Click here on Robby and Rexrode, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty and Superbook Sports. The Preds back in action tonight, taking on the Edmonton Oilers at home. Puck drop at 7 o'clock, pregame at 6 o'clock here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. And the standings in Preds Pick to Click are as follows. Joe Rexrode has tied things up with the listeners at 6 correct answers apiece after his dramatic performance yesterday, correctly guessing that no one would score a goal for the Nashville Predators. Joe, your thoughts?
Hey, I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't ready to prepare to give a statement on that, but
way to go.
I really
we get it. You're the best.
I was kind of
Rexrode.
joking.
It worked.
It worked.
Listeners and Joe tied at 6 correct answers apiece. Michelle Knezovic and I both with 4 correct answers apiece as well. With that in mind, let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in today's participant, Kyle. Kyle, thanks for calling in. Who is your pick to click tonight for the Nashville Predators?
Hey, thanks a lot. I'm going to go with Philip Forsberg. Got to retake that lead from Joe, so yeah.
Very nicely done, Kyle. Kyle calling in, going with Forsberg, and gets a little smack talk in with Joe on the way out the door. I appreciate it.
I was hoping he would do what you said during a break, which is then someone else, then he would be like, I'll go with no one. And then I would have taken Forsberg.
Yeah, could have happened.
But nice job taking Forsberg, darn you.
Forsberg off the board. Joe Rexrode, let the record show. You're up first today in the competition. Your pick to click tonight for the Nashville Predators.
Oh, must be, it is about once a month this happens? Middle of the month? Well, let's see. I'm not gonna do no one again. I'm not gonna do no one. Okay? Like, you can't go to that well too many times. They're not gonna get shut out tonight. They're not gonna get shut out. They're gonna score. They might give up 5 goals. But I will go with Matt Duchene.
Matt Duchene, the selection by Joe Rexrode. Forsberg and Duchene off the board. Michelle Knezovic, you were up next. Your pick to click tonight for the Nashville Predators.
Okay. I'm torn between 2. Actually 3.
Is nobody one of them?
No,
Okay.
I'm not going to do nobody. They're not going to get shut out again. But I think I'm going to go with the captain, Roman Josi.
Roman Josi, the selection from Michelle Knezovic. So Forsberg, Duchene, Josi off the board. Oh, man.
So many options.
There are. I don't feel great about any of them. I will go with, you know what? He played really well last night, and I think he finds the net tonight. I will go with Juuso Parssinen. I think Parssinen, you make a case he was their best forward last night. He was really good. So I will go with Juuso Parssinen as my pick to click tonight for the Nashville Predators.
Very active. That line was dangerous at times. Actually created some stuff. He had a great chance at the end of the second period.
He did.
I don't hate it.
So we'll see what happens on that front. Forsberg, Duchene, Josi, and Parssinen, the selections here in Preds Pick to Click. Taking your thoughts as well. Some of your suggestions already on the text line. Preds Pick to Click, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty and Superbook Sports. We're going to have Willie Donick on later in the show at 9:30. We'll get his thoughts on the Preds. And we're going to open it up to a discussion as well coming up at about 9:45, just about the big picture direction of this team. But I kind of hinted at this yesterday, Joe. This is a huge week for the Predators. It's a huge couple of weeks when you just factor in the schedule that they're in right now. Number one, you're playing a whole lot of hockey. So this break that they've had, it's about to change. There's a lot of hockey games this week. You played last night. You're playing tonight. You got Thursday night in Winnipeg, Saturday night in Colorado, back here on Monday against Edmonton. There's a lot of games coming up in not a very big amount of time, and all of them are either against Central Division opponents or Western Conference opponents here for the rest of the month of December. So some big games for the Predators as well. And look, I'm not saying that their season totally rides on the next 3 weeks, but we're going to find out a whole lot about this team over the next 3 weeks. Edmonton tonight, that's not gone well for them lately. I would assume Kevin Lankinen will be in net. Winnipeg on Thursday, who has gotten off to a really good start so far this year. And you got what remains of the Colorado Avalanche coming up on Saturday with the injuries that they're dealing with. It's a little bit less daunting than it is with their full strength, but it's still on the road at Colorado at a place that's very difficult to win. Like, it's a big one tonight for the Predators at home because I could see a path very quickly based on the competition that they're playing this week where this could get ugly if you don't win tonight. So Predators need to win this game tonight against Edmonton.
Yeah, this week. I mean, just this week. Yeah, you laid it out. It's the next few, but this week alone, I think, is really potentially a course setter, for this team. So you're talking about right now, how many teams that are ahead of the Preds in the West? It looks like you got a clear 9 teams ahead of them, and all those teams are in the 30s or more in points. The Preds sitting there at 27 points, 12, 11, and 3. And that break just, no excuses. It's like you can't have the excuse of like, wow, they played too many games and they're tired, or they had too much rest and they lost their mojo. I mean, ultimately, you got to come out, you got to perform whatever your games are. But they were playing well, and now they're not playing well. Lost 3 in a row. I mean, their goal differential -12. They're one of the worst offensive teams in the league. UC Saros, his numbers are really bad. At this point, to get to mid-December, and he's had some really good performances, but to get to mid-December and see his numbers where they are, they are – I have got to think that they are by far his worst numbers since he's become
starter.
But even when he was like a pretty regular usage backup, like at this point in the season,
maybe he's had some rough starts before. Where he didn't play very many games.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess like a rough start back then it still may only be like 10, like 6 games by now or something. But certainly since he's been the starter, like usually we see him kind of get to the point where he's got on a roll by now, and it hasn't happened.
I agree. And look, he's fine last night.
Obviously last night was can't quibble with that.
He gave up 1 goal last night. I thought he was pretty good against Ottawa on Saturday. Like right now, their problem is they can't score. That's a big problem. And like you said, we're 26 games in now, and they're 29th in the league in goals per game, and they're at 2.5, like 2.5 goals a game. It's not good enough. And we can talk about the power play. That's a big part of it too. Their power play. What are they, 28th in the league on the power play right now? They had some opportunities. St. Louis had an interesting strategy last night of just like taking stupid penalties left and right and going to the penalty box, and the Predators never could make them pay for it.
And trying to get some shorthanded opportunities, which they did.
Yeah, you could make a pretty good case the Predators gave up more quality chances on their power play last night than they generated, and that's not a very good place to be. So, offensively, you got to find a way to score. And I know Edmonton got held to 1 goal last night against Minnesota, so the Wild did obviously a terrific job defending McDavid and Draisaitl and those guys. But you have to think, heading into a game against Edmonton, who is the 6th best offensive team in the league right now, and it all generates around those 2 guys, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, who have absolutely blow-torched the Predators for the last 2-3 years that they played them. And it's not to single out the Predator because they blowtorch pretty much everybody. But, Draisaitl in particular has just murdered the Predators.
It's incredible.
The last couple of years that he's played against them. You have to think tonight that you're going to have to score 3-4 goals maybe to win this game. And right now, I know it's Edmonton, and they have their problems defensively. I don't know if the Predators, I don't know how much confidence I've got that the Predators can do that right now. Their offense is in a bad spot. And it's one thing, if you're just not scoring, and you feel good about the zone time and the quality looks and all those things, the Predators to me just don't feel overly dangerous offensively right now. Some of it's missing the net. Some of it's just not spending enough time in the zone. There's just not a whole lot of opportunities right now that they're generating where I'm like, well, man, that was a good look. They just don't feel very dangerous to me right now offensively, and that's not a good place to be.
By the way, they are actually 29th power play too. So,
there you go.
So there you go. But how much of last year's success, not just for just the overall numbers, but also individuals and their seasons they had, was about the power play. A ton.
It's a lot.
And it's it's had these little brief moments of life this year where it's like, okay, that looks more like it. But, again, you're talking about 2 months of sample size now. Not good.
We'll have Willie Donick coming up at 9:30. We'll get his thoughts on the Preds as they take on Edmonton coming up tonight. Take your thoughts as well. 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. We'll get back into the Titans up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
You love the game.
The doors on the board. Touchdown at TSU.
We live the game.
Going up against that defense.
He can make some plays and take that next step. We are.
A gunny performance. Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Study time for student athletes. This is the Commodore Report. I'm Kevin Ingram. A bit of a quiet week for sports on the Vanderbilt campus with final exams taking place. The basketball teams have a few days off from games for extra time to finish up the semester. At 5-5, the Vanderbilt men's team heads to Chicago this weekend to play in the Legends of Basketball Showcase against NC State, while the Commodore women's squad is 7-5 with a home game next on Sunday against Lipscomb. Well, over the weekend, Vanderbilt football put the wraps on the season with a banquet and award ceremony on campus. Among the Commodores honored, sophomore safety C.J. Taylor as Defensive Player of the Year. Taylor was a major factor in those back-to-back SEC wins with an interception to finish the game at Kentucky and a season-high 10 tackles versus Florida. He described at the time how he'd made a big jump in year two.
At the start of the season, I was still lacking a little confidence. Even though I had it within myself, I had to show other people that they could depend on me. As the season and games progress, I kind of feel into my confidence, and coaches uplift me and tell me, people can't do this, and you affect the game in this certain way and this certain way.
Taylor was second on the team in tackles with 59 behind overall team MVP Anthony Orji, who had 108. For a full list of those honored at the Rise Awards, you can visit BUCommodores.com. And be sure to check out Vanderbilt Golf senior Reed Davenport in the PXG College Golf Showcase. It airs for the first time tomorrow at 6 Central Time on Golf Channel. Head coach Scott Limbaugh served as Davenport's caddy for the event, which was recorded at Scottsdale National. Hit 'em straight. That's the Commodore Report on 102.5 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
College football season is here finally. It's me, Caroline Fenton, and you already know that I am pumped up for college football season. And Southeastern Carolines, you know that 312 Pizza Company is my favorite place in town. 312 Pizza Company is a family-owned restaurant located in the heart of Germantown, serving up authentic Chicago-style eats right here in Music City. You can catch every down of the college football season at 312 Pizza Company. From week 1 of the national championship, 312 Pizza Company is your home for college football season.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Live from the Game Nashville studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Robby and Rexrode, Chase, Willie, and D-Mace.
Stony Company. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3.
Ranks City score!
On both sides of the one big possession.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Tuesday morning. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. If you missed it, the passing of Mike Leach announced this morning by Mississippi State football. Passing away last night at the age of 61 after complications due to a heart condition. So our thoughts and prayers go out to Mike Leach's family and the Mississippi State football program as they deal with this loss. It is interesting, Joe, just looking around on social media right now. Lots of stuff coming out about Mike Leach, and obviously some videos of former press conferences and just people giving their thoughts on the impact that Mike Leach had on college football. A tremendous loss in the college football world today with the passing of Mike Leach.
Yeah, Chris Vanini, friend of the show, had a good tweet about all the different things about him. You know, he's one of the few coaches, first of all, who didn't play. You know, he went to law school. He never practiced law, but he went to law school. He wrote a book about Geronimo while he was coaching. Another big point, he wanted a 64-team playoff. Also, as Vanini points out here, he wanted to double referee salaries. And, I mean, this is an all-time quest of mine in life is for college sports to understand that if you don't pay people to be comfortable and to have really good careers and, like, get top people to officiate, you're not going to have good officiating, and there's enough money to do that. Mike Leach got that too. Also, like that Heupel story I wrote earlier this year, if I could have just done it with Mike Leach quotes, I would have. Like, they were, it was by, I mean.
I wish that phone call was recorded.
Incredible. Yeah, I know.
That would have been some great audio.
Yeah.
Also, never failed to put a smile on someone's face.
Yeah. Oh, without question. I mean, people are sending out all these press conferences now that these classic moments, and there's just so many. Like, who else would be? Like, think about that in other sports. Who would be the like Barkley would be like the NBA equivalent, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Somebody like Barkley.
From a personality standpoint, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm saying, like, just someone who, like, everyone drops what they're doing to hear what he's going to say about this or that.
Yeah.
Who would it be in, like, college basketball? Like there's no, like, most sports I don't even think
Dick
really
Vitale.
have some. Yeah, but it's,
it's just not the same.
No, like, just outrageous. I'm failing to find the word right now. Going off on a tangent.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just, I mean, even in sports, there just aren't many people like Mike Leach. It's such a loss.
Yep, no question about it. 615-737-1025. We'll take your thoughts on the legacy of Mike Leach on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com as well. Joe, I know there was a Titans thought that you wanted to get to as it relates to the discussion we've had all show long with the ownership situation and what it could mean for this group as they move forward here. Still trying to get in the playoffs, still trying to win the division, and still trying to do whatever they can do once the playoffs arrive.
Well, that's the thing. This is where, and maybe I'm just saying this because I've said on the show earlier that I fully agreed with Jared's take yesterday on the show, so I felt a little weird about that. But here's where I completely depart from him. I think that I absolutely believe.
Now we're back to normal.
Yes. Well, I absolutely believe that the decision last week threw this team into total turmoil and confusion and all the distraction that everybody talks about all the time, and it did not have a good impact. And yes, I understand it's not why this person fumbled the ball or blah, blah, blah. Like, they were weak and wilted and just disjointed and arguably the worst product Mike Vrabel has ever put on a football field as a Tennessee Titans head coach. So you're going to tell me that's a coincidence? BS, okay? I reject that out of hand. But where I disagree with Jared is, Jared's like, season's over and forfeit or whatever, I think now, like this week, I expect them to, okay, we know the situation. You guys all know what the deal is. Back to work, back to the routine, back to not having, like, okay, John Robinson went out and one of his messages was, don't let the media make this up. What's the word? Distraction.
Yeah.
Well, like this week, I don't think there's going to be a bunch of John Robinson questions in the locker room. If you want to blame the media, you're welcome to do that. I don't think the media is going to be the problem this week. I don't think this story is going to be a problem anymore. The Titans are back to playing football, and it's back to everything. They want to win. There's a bunch of guys. They're fighting for their jobs. All these things. It'll get back to normal. I don't think that this changes the rest of the season. I think it caused a 1 week just complete disruption of everything that played out in the performance. But I think they'll get back to that. And I don't know how good they'll be. I don't know what the health will be. But like yesterday, Jared texted me and said, stop giving them, when we talked about, okay, what if they do get Burt's back? What if Autry comes back this week? What if Fulton comes back, Long comes back, on and on and on? Could they still be a formidable team? I still believe so. I still absolutely believe so. They're going to get back to doing their jobs, and I think that they can still make something of this season. So that's where I depart dramatically. That's where, at our crossroads, Jared, you go down the path of hyperbole and forfeit the season. And he may be right on the future. Like Titans may be heading into an era here of not making the playoffs and not having good teams. That's possible. But
certainly
the rest of this season does not have to be completely flushed down the toilet, I don't think.
Joe, some news on the Titans front yesterday, including Ola Adeniyi released by the Tennessee Titans yesterday. That was surprising to me. What did you make of that move, the Titans releasing Ola Adeniyi?
Yeah, surprising to me too. He had the neck injury. He was out. He played one game. They clearly didn't like it. He was a healthy scratch last week. This is what I'm talking about. I mean, it goes fast.
Yeah.
This is a guy who has been a core special teams player and at times has really provided some nice pass rush, and they are missing that. So there it is, man. It goes fast in this league. I do wonder, does it also indicate that Autry may be coming back this week?
Could be. And I think the term that Vrabel used yesterday was hope so.
Yeah.
Really hope so. Hope everybody that's available can play. We need as many bodies back as they could get. But, I mean, I have to think, and I'm not saying that you can't, like, misdiagnose things and people, sometimes take longer to heal than you think they will when you originally look at the injury. But I have to think if they didn't put him on IR, that there's got to be a pretty good chance that Autry's at least back out on the field this week.
Yeah, although you have a limited number of people you can bring back.
There is that.
So you have.
By the way, they did bring Adeniyi off the IR, and now he's gone. So
yeah,
that's a move.
So there's one.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. I mean, so obviously it was worth, putting him on there, taking him off, all that, and then they waive him. So I don't know if that means the injury just really is infecting him. I don't know, but yes, that one hurts to have that IR removal. So yeah, I don't know that I wouldn't necessarily look into it like this week for sure, but that move does make you think, right, that they may be filling that hole.
Oh, they need
Autry. Yeah, they badly need him. Yeah. And I just look, so you get him back, and unfortunately for the Titans, these games mean a lot more than they should mean right now, but they could still, I believe, be a good defensive team. I don't know about the offense, but Traylon Burks certainly would help. And he should be, I would think he'd be back this week. Vrabel wouldn't comment yesterday. He's like, I don't comment on players in the protocol, but by the typical timelines, you would think there'd be a good chance that he'd be back this week.
Dontrell Hilliard, who left the game with a neck injury on Sunday, apparently doing a little bit better than he was on Sunday, but Vrabel did confirm yesterday that does not expect him to be available this week. So it looks like the Titans, at least for this week, going to be without the services of Dontrell Hilliard. So, number one, glad that anytime you're talking about a neck injury, that's the first thing you think about is, are they okay? And it sounds like that he is, but it looks like he won't be a go for this week. So maybe a little bit more Julius Chestnut this week. Could Hassan Haskins get back in there? Interested to see how that plays out because you're going to need a third down back.
Well, or Derrick Henry every single play.
Every play.
Derrick Henry every single play. How about that? Some more direct snaps to him, too?
Well, I did. He was late in the game.
Pass to him,
on Sunday. Obviously after Hilliard was out, and I looked and it was like 3rd and 11 or whatever it was, and I was like, oh, look, Derrick Henry's out there. How about that?
Yeah.
He can play third down.
Yeah, he can. He can catch the ball. Not always, but, he can.
He can. 615-737-1025. We'll have more of your thoughts on the Titans coming up next. 615-737-1025. Willie Donick coming up at 9:30 as well. Preds fans, if you want to win tickets in our lower bowl section 102, just text the keyword Superbook, all one word, to the game text line. Once again, that's Superbook, all one word, to the game text line at 615-737-1025, and you'll be entered for your chance to win. Win with 102.5, 106.3 The Game, and you can win with Superbook. Superbook Sports voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 8:45. Join Robby and Rexrode for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The Choice is Yours. Wednesdays at 8:45 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Give the gift of luxury this holiday season. Nothing is more elegant than a trip to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Gift cards from Bob's Steakhouse or Mocara Day Spa make wonderful gifts for any occasion, especially during the holidays. The foodie in your life will enjoy an evening of fine dining from the award-winning Bob's Steakhouse. Bob's Steakhouse specializes in serving big, flavorful steaks next to Texas-sized portions of delicious sides. The special person in your life will be comforted with the gift of relaxation and rejuvenation when they receive a gift card to Mocara Day Spa. Let the spoiling begin with a soothing facial, hot stone massage, body treatment, salon service, or mani-pedi. Bob's Steakhouse and Mocara Day Spa in the luxurious Omni Nashville Hotel. Purchase your gift cards today.
Christmas shopping is in full swing at Electronic Express. Come into our convenient locations for great deals on all of your favorite brands like Samsung, Microsoft, LG, Sony, Apple, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. 4K TVs, computers, appliances, smart home, headphones, gaming, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 48 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express, we make Christmas happen.
Achieve hero status this year. The woman in your life will love this unique and thoughtful gift. Always in style, always fits, always appreciated. Choose your budget, and whether you spend a little or go lavish, she can choose from 10 different services, all under one roof at a Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa. Gift cards can be printed directly from the website, or they can be beautifully wrapped for a stunning presentation and even paired with other gifts like robes, candles, and all sorts of fun finds from the Gift Boutique. Learn more about this at amomentspeace.com/Christmas.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have, credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
This Sunday, following the Titans game, tune in for NFL postgame with Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow, live from the Superbook Lounge and Landshark Bar and Grill, Margaritaville on Broadway. Postgame show brought to you by Renters Warehouse, Two Rivers Ford, now with a huge inventory of in-stock vehicles to choose from, and Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. Robby and Rexrode here with you on this Tuesday morning, streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Scott on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, says, where is this talented wide receiver Kyle Phillips that everyone applauded during camp? This from, it says Scott, but it's actually from Tony from Smyrna on the text line. So we got to get that fixed.
That's, well, I think we've had that before, haven't we?
Yeah.
The Tony for Smyrna, Tony
I'm
going
to fix it right now.
Yeah. Well, he's hurt, and he is one of the choices, coming off IR. If he can get healthy, that they would have to make. I mean, look, I fully expect David Long to be one of those. I want to say they have 3 left. And, I should just go ahead and look at their website to make sure I get this correct. But that's a big question. Is Kyle Phillips going to get healthy enough to where he would be one of them as well? I don't know the answer to that question, but obviously he was the most targeted receiver in the first week, and talk about something that seems far away. My gosh. But on the injured, so you have, Zach Cunningham. So I want to say that they have 3, and I believe that's correct. And so 4 people, I guess, you could, if you want to count Cody Hollister. Some people would not, but if you want to discount him, there's 4 of interest, which would be Zach Cunningham. Again, David Long Jr., Zach Cunningham, Elijah Molden, and Kyle Phillips. I'm guessing Elijah Molden is done for the year. Don't know that for sure, but obviously the groin injury has bothered him all year. He tried to come back. It's just how it reads to me. But I don't know. I don't know if Phillips can get back. I think that Cunningham and Long as a tandem inside, I think we'll see that before the season's over. And look, that could help. I mean, Long is a huge loss. Long was a huge loss Sunday. He's a huge loss. Autry's the biggest loss. David Long Jr. has played at, I believe, a Pro Bowl level in a lot of games this year for the Titans. He's terrific. So get him and Cunningham back. That could help. The defense can be a lot better than it was Sunday. This also then brings you to the whole, okay, great. This person's coming back. Tell me who's going to get hurt that day, because I know someone will, because that's what happens with this team. And if anybody says that, I can't argue with you.
Dave on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, says John Robinson failing to plan for the Taylor Lewan injury and having a replacement ready to go is grounds enough for firing. Andrew on the text line says,
sure.
Robbie, how would you
make a bad move? You're fired.
And honestly, the entire fan base feel if Vrabel got fired at the end of the year for refusing to fire Downing. I love Vrabel, but I'm okay with it if he's that hard-headed. This is from Andrew on the text line.
Oh, fire everybody. We're back to firing Vrabel. Can you imagine that? What if Amy fires Vrabel? All of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, guys, this is Dallas Cowboys Northeast.
What if it's because, first off, I can't imagine that scenario being the case of Amy looking at Vrabel and being like, well, you need to fire Todd Downing or you're going to get fired.
Agree.
But I can
see Amy saying, are you going to fire Todd Downing?
I can see that for sure. I mean, I said this yesterday, and I hesitate to get in the head of Mike Vrabel because he can speak for himself, but I can't imagine if things hold up the way that they are, regardless of who you want to blame for the offensive struggles that they've had, and regardless of what's fair and not fair when it comes to the Todd Downing discussion. And I think there is plenty of criticism that is fair for Todd Downing. To me, you can't look at the direction the offense has gone the last 2 years while he's been coordinator, regardless of the circumstances, and think that, oh, yeah, let's do that again. To me, if it goes the way it's gone so far, I don't think you have any choice but to move on from Todd Downing after this year. And then, of course, there's, the DUI thing that's tossed in there now too.
Yeah, can't help his case. 5 points a game in the second half. It's not good enough. I just can't produce. I'm not smart enough. I don't have the information to produce an answer on personnel versus Downing. Anybody out there who's like, oh, it's all Downing, I think you're crazy. I don't think that's true at all. And the personnel does speak to John Robinson, by the way.
It does.
And also, if you actually think that not being prepared for Taylor Lewan's injury is fireable, then my God, you must fire people left and right if you're in charge of that. I mean, seriously. Do we need to go through all the players who are on the team right now who were chosen by John Robinson? I mean, we can. I could do it again. We did it last week. I mean, we can be repetitive at times on this show.
Listen, he just needs to know how to predict the future.
Well, yeah. That's what they need. They need to find someone who, has special powers.
Well,
maybe so. That would be, you would crush as a GM, right?
Oh, yeah.
If you were psychic.
At probably anything.
Yeah, that's
most
true.
things.
Yeah. I'd probably just go live in Vegas, but yeah. I guess you don't have to live in Vegas anymore, do you?
No, you don't.
Yeah.
615-737-1025.
Good discussion.
Ron on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, says, Amy is making room to pay Jeffrey Simmons and cap room for next year. Based on what? What are we talking about?
Firing John Robinson?
Yeah.
It's a different pool of money.
Paying this GM a little too much.
Come on. Are you trolling us? If that's what you meant, tell me you're trolling us.
Jason from Mount Juliet on the text line says, I like Vrabel as our coach, but he can be very frustrating sometimes. He sometimes is unwilling to adjust. He stated he was open to all options, but when asked about a coaching change, he shuts it down. His comments on his show about being in the rooms and meetings makes it sound like the blame is in the players. And if you missed that, Vrabel did say on his coaching show yesterday that there will not be any coaching changes in the middle of the season, which I don't think is a big surprise in week 15. But yeah,
no. But after the season, that's going to be very interesting. And it's absolutely fair. I can't break it down. I can't do an accurate blame pie for you. But he hasn't been good. He hasn't been a good OC. And at this point, you're talking about 3 seasons basically, and it hasn't been good. And at some point, it's like, so is it always excuses and it's
That's
always somebody else? No, I don't buy that at all. So that's going to be very interesting after the season. As far as the Vrabel stuff, the thing about Vrabel is, by the way, we've also got some more today of is it true that he's going to Ohio State? What about these Ohio State rumors?
Look what you've created.
Good Lord. No, but Vrabel has been very good. He is probably as pursued a commodity or valued a commodity as there is in the NFL right now in terms of a coach, right? Other than the guys who have actually won Super Bowl rings. But he still does have to do that, right? I mean, there are still – it's not like he's this infallible coach who does no wrong. I mean, even yesterday, one of his – he was asked about – I thought Koharski had very fair questions about 10 3-and-outs coming out in the second half in this losing streak. And like I just said, they're averaging, I think, 5.4 points a game in the second halves of games. And so the questions about Downing for Vrabel are totally fair right now. And, he went into – penalty, execution, went into player. It's player. Okay. It can't be coach. I think there's some level of he's just protecting his coaches, but you know what? There's no way it's just the players. So he's not this untouchable figure, and I think the Downing question is going to be a big one, and I absolutely believe it's a question from Amy Adams Strunk.
Well, it should be, and that's what I'm saying. Like, going back to the Downing discussion, like right now, I think there are plenty of excuses that are valid for the Titans in terms of their offense and the personnel. But I also, like, at some point, it's just bad luck if you're Todd Downing, but you've not done anything really to help the situation either. And I just think that that's going to end up, if things go the way that they're going right now, I think you got to make a move at the offensive coordinator position. I got a text that says the Texans have worse players and score more than us. Obviously, it's the offensive coordinators. Well, the Texans do not score more than the Titans. Titans have 18.5 points a game, and the Texans are at 16.2. So it's not true.
Other than the fact error, good point. No, look, it's a lot of things, and that's the wild thing is that. Let's see, how many weeks from 3 weeks ago? Thursday, is that right? Right around there. Todd Downing had, I think, his best night as Titans OC. And it was like, oh, things are looking up. Look at that defense. A creative, effective plan and play calling within the game. And basically since the next morning, it's been very little positive for the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, there's no question about that. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Willie Donick. We'll get his thoughts on the Predators as they prepare to take on the Edmonton Oilers tonight, coming off the loss in overtime last night against the St. Louis Blues. That's next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
The Jaguars are pouring it on in Nashville.
The Titans have lost 3 straight after falling to the Jags 36-22 at Nissan Stadium.
You cannot tell me after watching that game that team didn't look a little distracted.
After those first 2 drives, it seems like they put the car in neutral.
How can they turn things around?
We have to be able to find a way to get our hand on the football, so it starts with taking care of the football.
Talking Titans? Keep it locked to Nashville's best Titans talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and The Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Jared. If you're listening to us on I-24 towards Murfreesboro or I-65 towards Spring Hill, make sure you check out 106.3 for another great way to hear Nashville's best sports talk.
There's never a good time for your furnace to go out, especially in the winter. But it's always a good time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Preds fans, you coming out for tonight's big game? The pre-party action is at Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville, steps away from Bridgestone Arena. Enjoy great specials like $3 off any appetizer in the bar area and $20 bucket specials on Bud, Bud Light, Mick Ultra, and Landshark beer. A sports TV viewing mecca, the Landshark Bar and Grill is a Lower Broadway must-see. That's the Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on the corner of 4th Avenue and Broadway. Stop in before the Preds game tonight.
Response to Genesis Diamond's remarkable free financing offer has been so incredible that we're extending it through Christmas Eve. Last minute shoppers, we've got you covered with 5 years zero interest financing on any purchase with $0 down. So you can splurge on that handcrafted diamond ring and spread it over 60 whole months. Studs, bracelets, necklaces, bands, every color and every shape, starting at only $35 a month with $0 down. You can use this amazing offer on anything. Designer engagement rings, classics like diamond pendants and bracelets. All our hand-selected GIA certified diamonds are included, and so are our luxury pre-owned Rolexes. At Genesis, we've got our best collection ever, with case after case of stunning gifts that are romantic and timeless. And with Genesis guaranteed best value price and 5 years zero interest, $0 down financing offer, you can make this the best Christmas ever and still stay in budget. Merry Christmas from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs, on approved credit.
Hey, this is Edwin Vickery at Mercedes-Benz of Music City in Nashville, Tennessee. We have a lot to be thankful for this year, and I want to say thank you to our customers in Nashville and Middle Tennessee. I hope everybody has a safe and happy holiday season.
Happy holiday from Houston Clinic Orthopedics, conveniently located where you live and work with various locations in and around the Nashville area. Houston's physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, and many other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they strictly adhere to all CDC guidelines for the patient's and staff's safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all Houston physicians and specialties, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
TSU basketball lives on 102.1 The Ville. Join Coach Brian Petty Collins and the Tigers for every great moment in the OVC. On your home for TSU basketball, 102.1 The Ville and the Ville app.
Hey Nashville, this is David Price. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Tuesday morning. And as we do every Tuesday morning at 9:30, we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our good friend Willie Donick, brought to you by Coleman Tractor in Tennessee. They're Tennessee's largest Kubota dealer. Willie, good morning. Welcome back from St. Louis. How are we doing?
I'm doing well, guys. Let's groove.
Let's
I like
groove.
it.
Absolutely.
Another classic.
Setting the tone here on this program this morning. So, Willie, I mean, it was a game last night where you don't see a 0-0 tie in regulation very much. So it's no score heading into overtime. St. Louis gets the win last night in the overtime period. You're right back at it tonight, taking on Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers. Where do you think the Predators' game as a whole is right now, and how concerning is the offense that's been a problem pretty much all season to this point to you at this point, based on the fact that they're 29th in the league right now in goals per game?
Well, I think when you're 29th, you got to be pretty concerned, right? It's no secret that I do think if you look at last night, that was probably the best defensive game that they've played all year long, in my opinion. And I think that's the way ultimately they need to play to be successful. This isn't a team that's going to, even when they're at their best offensively, outgun a team. Like you look at the Oilers tonight. You know, you're not going to beat them 6-5 very often. You're much more likely to lose 6-2 or 6-3.
Right.
So the way you got to play solid defensively, and then get enough offense. You've got great goaltending, and you want to set them up to be successful. So they did a lot of that last night. It was just very frustrated that they, I think, won the battle of possession, of chances, of opportunities, but they couldn't get a single goal against a team that quite honestly struggles big time defensively or has struggled. So that was really frustrating last night for sure, just to settle for 1 point.
So, Willie, the power play obviously also 29th. So, I mean, I think it's a pretty clear line you can draw from that to the overall offensive performance. But at this point, if you had to look at it in terms of top-line players, I think we all expected some regression this year statistically from some of the top guys, you know, in terms of offensive statistics. But top-line players doing more or secondary scoring, which really has just been barren. Which do you think is the bigger issue, bigger need for improvement right now?
Well, they both have to improve. Both of them do. But I think if I had to prioritize it, it does have to start with the top. I think it's pretty noticeable when Philip Forsberg, Matt Duchene, Ryan Johansson, Mikael Granlund, when those guys play well and make plays, this is a pretty good team. They're their best version of themselves. Those guys have to lead the way. And they've been very sporadic this year. It's one thing to say they're not going to get 40 goals. I think we all were reasonable about that. But you've got to drive offense, right? You've got to lead to other good things happening. And it's just not happening enough. And it does start with the power play. I think that was a game last night where if you just make a couple of plays on the power play, you might win the game 2-0. You know, you might. But it's not happening often enough. The secondary scoring is also an issue. I'm not going to skirt that at all. So it's a blend of both, but I think it's got to start at the top. Those are the guys that have to drive the team.
Willie, how much different is the backup goaltender situation this year compared to last in your mind? I mean, I would expect, I guess, for Kevin Lankinen to go tonight on the second half of the back-to-back, and his numbers have been phenomenal. How much do you think that could influence the way they use the goalies moving forward?
I think, as we talked about last week, it's made a big difference. Just as the feeling when he takes the net, as he likely will tonight. There's just a feeling that there's not a drop-off. And that used to be the feeling when UC Saros was backing up Pekka Rinne. It wasn't, oh, man, Pekka can't play tonight. What are we going to do? I think there was some of that last year, unfortunately. No offense to David Riddick. But he just didn't instill that kind of confidence. And I think I said this last week. I think you can take every single game Kevin Lankinen has played to this point, and it's been a higher quality than even the best games that David Riddick played last year. So I think you come into tonight a team that has had the Predators' number as a team that absolutely could bust out and score 5 or 6 goals, but you feel like you got a chance because Lankinen has been so solid. And on the other side, this is what you're going to get from the Oilers. You've got Jack Campbell, who's likely going to play. He's lost the starting job. He has not been good at all. But the Predators have not been taking advantage of goalies that have struggled, like Jordan Binnington, who is a good goalie having an off year. But the Predators, he's in the net. He finds a way to get a shutout. I just think it's, they're getting scoring opportunities. They're getting in position to score. You look at offensive zone time and shot attempts, but they've just got to find a way to connect the dots and finish some of these plays. It's really frustrating right now.
Willie, what's your read on the Eeli Tolvanen situation here now that he's with Seattle? I mean, I think a lot of people were surprised. I was surprised to see him put on waivers. How do you think that all went down, and what do you think is ahead for him in his career?
Well, it's a very layered thing. It's something that we could probably take a half hour to talk about, and we discussed it a lot yesterday in preparation for our broadcast. We talked to a lot of different people. It's not one simple thing. And I've looked, and I love the way it has been vetted backwards and forwards on social media, and some of the people that cover the team. They've done a great job, I think, of exploring all the options. And the only thing I would say is, in talking to a lot of the people, is they explored every option, right? They had options of what they could have done. This is what they felt the best option was. And they were put under the gun because they lost 3 players in one day. They lost Michael McCarron to the player assistance program. They lost 2 defensemen in the same period on Saturday, and that put a big strain on the roster on the salary cap. And so they had to make very, very tough decisions. They're on their 10th defenseman right now. So all those guys count against the salary cap, right? So all of a sudden you're a team that spent some money in the offseason on Niederreiter and McDonough. And so, like a lot of teams happen during the season, when you get a lot of injuries, you got to make tough decisions. And I don't think it was, in a perfect world, what they wanted to do. But I think when you place a guy in Eeli Tolvanen on waivers, you're prepared to lose him if you have to. And Seattle might have a great pickup here. Only time will tell. But I think if you look at guys like Parsonen, you look what Tomasino is doing in Milwaukee, I think long-term, Afanasiev, I think on the depth chart, Tolvanen was kind of slipping behind some of those guys, and they felt like, okay, if we lose them, we can deal with it. But there's so many different angles and things that piled up to lead to the decision. It's just not as simple as, hey, they're giving up on Eeli Tolvanen. But I'll say this, too. I think, to be fair, and I'll ask it back to you guys, I do think Eeli Tolvanen had a lot of opportunities to grab a job and show that he belonged in the NHL as a regular player. And for whatever reason, he just didn't take them. Now, the light may go on for Seattle, and this may end up being a great move for the Kraken. The Kraken seem to be doing a lot of things right at this point, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think any of us would be surprised if he gets a new leash on life and does a really nice job for them. But I don't think you can honestly say he didn't have a chance to succeed here.
I agree. Willie Donick with us here on Robby and Rexrode. So, Willie, you talked about the defense last night. I agree. I thought they were really good defensively last night. And now you switch gears to the Edmonton Oilers and Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, who have just blowtorched everybody in the league so far this year. And Draisaitl in particular has got to give some of the members of the Predators just nightmares with the numbers that he's put up against them the last couple of years. How do you go about trying to make sure those two just don't completely take over the game, which they've done at times against the Predators in the last couple of years?
It's interesting, Robbie. It's not only that they've done it most of the time, I think they've done it every time that they played the Predators the last few games. They have not been able to contain those two guys. And so I had nightmares last night myself, and I'm sure all of the players did. Leon Draisaitl has just, he has absolutely owned the Predators. McDavid for sure as well. The number one thing you have to do, you say it every time you play them, is you have to limit the times that they're on the power play. They're lethal on the power play. So that's the first thing. And look, Kevin Gravel and Roland McEwen did a really nice job last night, but you're missing Ryan McDonough. You're missing some key penalty killers. So that would be a formula for disaster, even though the penalty kill was excellent last night. You have to limit those against those guys. Evander Kane had a hat trick against the Predators the first time. Of course, he's not there. The Oilers haven't been quite as explosive offensively since he's been hurt. Minnesota managed to hold them to 1 goal last night. So you just got to play that solid team defensive game. You can't fuel the fire by making poor puck decisions, turning the puck over in the neutral zone. Because if you do, as soon as you make a mistake at the blue line, they're so good, if McDavid's on the ice, of turning it into a 2-on-1 back the other way. And they're almost unstoppable. So I think those are the two things. No unnecessary penalties, and no unnecessary, limit your turnovers in the neutral zone in particular.
Willie, I did just want to get your thoughts. Mike Leach passing away, tragic story and massive loss, for college football, but for sports as well. Just wanted to get your thoughts on Mike Leach and what do you think he's meant to the game?
Well, when I think of him, I go way back C.M. Newton, the college basketball Hall of Famer, he was the one that recruited me and signed me to a scholarship to Vanderbilt. And then, of course, as soon as he signs me, as I'm reminded many times, he left for Kentucky. I don't think I was the reason he left for Kentucky.
Go
but
Cats.
He became the athletic director at Kentucky. And among some of the things he did, he hired, and now why am I escaping the coach that he hired for football? Help me out here, Michelle.
Hal Mummy?
But, Hal Mummy, yeah. So Hal Mummy brought in Mike Leach, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
And they had a real innovative offense with Tim Couch, right? I was the sideline reporter for Vanderbilt for some of those games, and what they were doing was pretty cool, pretty innovative. So Mike Leach, that's the first thing I think about is he had a really good mind as far as, you know, what things could be done when you don't have the horses necessarily. You know, you don't have the stacked team. How do you try to make up for it with some of those bubble screens and passing games, throw the ball a bunch of times? A lot of great creativity there. And, of course, you always love a great character of the game that always makes, you know, those press conferences entertaining. I know not everybody was his biggest fan. I can remember the controversy a few years ago with Craig James. That was kind of a mess. But, you know, all coaches have strengths and weaknesses, as you find out over time. But certainly he made his mark on college football. Just a really, really sad story.
Well, Willie, great stuff as always. Thanks for taking time to be with us this morning, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me. Talk to you again soon.
Absolutely. Willie Donick, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode, brought to you by Coleman Tractor, Tennessee's largest Kubota dealer. We'll take your thoughts on the Preds, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Have some thoughts on them coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormonal deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve your quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
Hal Gill here for my friends at Dunkin'. Everyone celebrates the holidays in their own special way, but you go twice as hard as everyone else. So does Dunkin', which is why they've created 2 espresso-rich holiday signature lattes. The minty, cocoa-dusted peppermint mocha and creamy cinnamon sugary toasted white chocolate lattes are handcrafted with bold espresso and topped with whipped cream to help you do the most this year. So swing by the newly remodeled Dunkin' on Bradley Parkway in Nashville or the new Dunkin' in Mount Juliet and grab one today on the double.
Hey, it's Jared. Are you looking to move? If so, do yourself a favor and reach out to my friends at TriStar Moving. You can be assured your move will be stress-free because they've got new utility vans to help with pack jobs to separate your high-value or fragile items from the bulk of your furniture, and their movers are carefully picked and highly trained. No one in the game is doing this. TriStar Moving is raising the standard in the moving industry. When you're ready to move, give them a call. TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, or online at nationalmoving.org/radio, and tell them Jared Stillman referred you for 10% off. That's TriStar Moving.
With PatriotSoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Mike Capel here, serial entrepreneur. I began paying employees in 1988. I would handwrite checks and say, here you go, don't cash it until Tuesday. But a teenage employee said his dad wanted to see his pay stub. Pay stub? We don't have pay stubs. Get back to work. He said,
Dad works for the government, and state law requires that I receive a pay stub.
Crud! Now I'm supposed to be an expert on withholding payroll taxes and create pay stubs? That's why I created Patriot Software, to help employers with 1 to 100 employees do their payroll correctly with pay stubs. Go to PatriotSoftware.com. Use promo code RADIO and get 2 months of payroll free. That's PatriotSoftware.com.
PatriotSoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Jared Stillman.
If you get 3 games where he doesn't turn the ball over, you're going to the Super Bowl.
Caroline Fenton.
I don't know if he would be open to joining another team.
Stillman and Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. We may now begin our day. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in. Final segment of the day. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Tuesday morning. Thanks to Willie Donick for joining us in the last segment.
Yeah, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Feeling that today, huh, Michelle?
I love a little Earth, Wind, and Fire. Those are the only two songs I know, but...
Oh, there's way more you know. There's more you know.
I played this song on September 21st about 5 times, and neither of you said anything about it.
That's my anniversary. That's why we played this song at our wedding, and they said 21st day of September. On the 21st of September, we got married.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I did it on this show about 5 times, and nobody noticed.
I don't
Crickets
think
from
that's
us.
True. I don't think that's true.
Crickets. I think it's probably true.
It is true.
I don't doubt
It doesn't sound like
Joe
me.
is disappointed in himself.
I'm questioning my existence right now.
Brett's taking on the Oilers tonight at Bridgestone Arena. Puck drop at 7 o'clock, pregame at 6 o'clock here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We talked about this earlier. The term crossroads has been thrown around by the Titans the last couple of weeks, and then we've talked a lot about crossroads. I'll be honest with you, Joe. I kind of feel like we're getting there with the Predators for this season. Like, they're getting close to a crossroads point, and I said this earlier in the show. I don't think that these next 3 weeks necessarily are their season or not. Like, you don't have to win 6 games coming up here in the next 3 weeks to save your season. But I do think we're going to find out a lot about exactly what this team is. We're 26 games in now. It's a relatively big sample size. There's still lots to learn. But you're taking on Edmonton twice in the next week, both at home, which they have just torched you the last few times you've played them. Winnipeg's off to a great start this year. You've got Colorado, albeit a very, very, very injured Colorado, coming up on Saturday on the road. And you got Colorado again next week. Dallas, with the way that they've played so far this year. There's lots of really tough games for the Predators coming up. Lots of Central Division games and lots of Western Conference games to close out this month. This is a time where they need to gain some traction here. And if they don't, they're going to put themselves in a really tough spot to make the playoffs. And I watch them play right now, and I think I'm even guilty of this a little bit. And to their credit, they have built up the expectation of, all right, well, they'll make the playoffs. Like, they'll figure things out. They'll make the playoffs. Now, what they do in the playoffs, no idea. But everybody, I think, deep down kind of expects them to just figure it out and make the playoffs. And I'm not saying they won't do that this year. But I watch them play right now offensively, and it is rough. And it's rough to watch offensively. And the latest example is you get shut out last night by a Blues team that, quite frankly, I don't think is very good. Their goaltender's not played well so far this year. You get shut out last night. And I'm looking at their schedule right now, and if they can't fix the scoring problem that's been a problem all year, I just don't know that you've got enough firepower over the next 3 weeks to hang in there with a good enough record. This is a crossroads-type point of the schedule for the Predators that they've got coming up in the next 3 weeks.
Oh, I see what you just did.
I'm just saying. It is.
Well, and I think it's hard to not see the parallels right now between the Titans and Preds.
It's very hard.
So let me ask you this. What percentage of the Nashville Predators fan base, if we could actually get an accurate number, would pick A or B? A, team barely gets into playoffs, loses in 4 or 5 in the first round. B, well, okay, let me change it. We don't know what'll happen in the first round.
Okay.
Just gets into the playoffs.
All right.
Then, whatever, barely gets in 8 seed, 7 seed, whatever, Or B, does not make the playoffs, at least potentially opening the door for actual changes. What percentage picks A? What percentage picks B?
I think it's a good question. I think it's based on my gauge of the Predators fan base. I think it's pretty close. Like, typically, my answer to this would be, I think we hear a lot from the vocal minority in terms of the screaming about changing GMs and coaches and all that stuff. First off, I think it's becoming more and more of a majority as the time goes on here.
And now it's like John Robinson got fired.
Yeah, and there's that too that factors into it. And then secondly, like it's also like at some point, even if you're like the biggest optimist, it's like, all right, well, making the playoffs is great. Also, 16 to 32 teams in the league make the playoffs, and you haven't done anything with it lately. So how much longer is that going to be the case? I think it's a very fair question to ask. I would probably, if I had to guess, still lean that 55, 60% would go with the making the playoffs route, and I base part of that on the discussions we had back in April. I think more of that was the case than I thought it would be, but I think it's pretty close. Like the Predators fan base is as riled up as I've seen them in a while.
Yeah, and the thing is they've had these – I mean, it wasn't that long ago where Ekholm's getting traded, Poyle, all that stuff, and then they rebounded. And they had a long stretch at the end of the 2021 season and the beginning of the 21-22 season where they played really good hockey. They haven't looked like a good hockey team, honestly, in almost a year now.
That is correct.
I mean, you're basically going back to whenever they really started to decline. I guess you'd probably go back to last February, but even it started to happen a little bit in January. They really haven't looked like a good hockey team for almost a calendar year.
Yeah. And it's not a great place to be.
So maybe they will turn around. I still think that there's players on the roster who could tell you logically that they could turn around, but you just aren't seeing much of it. And now the injuries are coming.
Mike on the text line says Forsberg's been invisible for weeks. He just skates around waiting for a pass, not working hard on the forecheck and getting to the net. I don't know that I totally agree with that all the time, but I will say, like, Forsberg to me right now, like you look at the point totals and they look fine. He's not playing, to me, anywhere near the top of his game. And I would put Duchesne in that category. I thought Duchesne had a great week a couple of weeks ago. And the last few times out, I just think I thought he was bad on Saturday against Ottawa. I didn't think he was great last night. Johansson's gone through a little bit of a slump lately. He took some bad penalties last night. He had 3 in the first 12 minutes or 22 minutes of play last night.
He's just trying to keep pace with the Blues.
Yeah. I mean, so they got some problems right now. And to your point, they are both with the top guys and they're with the secondary scoring, of which they've gotten very little so far this year. To me, it's going to take Forsberg, Yossi, Duchesne, those type guys to move the needle. But, you need to start getting stuff from Jeannot and Trennan and Sissons. Niederreiter's been fine for the most part. Granlund needs to start putting the puck in the net more than he has been. And the back end, I talked about this yesterday. Nobody talks about it, but you need some offense from your blue line, and Yossi's the only one providing that right now. And that you can't win that way.
Yeah. I mean, think about how different that is from not that long ago. Matt Gallatin says it's bad when Joe wins pick-to-click by picking a shutout. Or is it good? It's bad for the Preds.
Yes.
It's good for me.
It's impressive for you. That's going to do it for us today here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll be back 6 a.m. tomorrow to discuss all of the happenings of the Predators, their game against the Oilers. Look ahead to the Titans and the Chargers as well. Chase, Willie, and D-Mace up next. This is 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Stuck at work without a radio?
Wait a minute. Disastrous.
I hate that.
It's got to be there.